He's closely monitored developments linked to today's planned anti-illegal immigration marches. One of the key areas under close watch is the Shaga's Head informal settlement. Now that's north of Durban, where anti-illegal immigration protests were reported overnight. From what we understand, as we saw, those protests were contained to the area. Now, a large contingent of police, municipal police officers, as well as private security responded, and they remain deployed to prevent any escalation. I've also spoken to traffic authorities, who say the province's major roads have remained relatively calm so far, with no significant disruptions reported this morning. Meanwhile, reflecting on the Hammarsdale arrest, KwaZulu-Natal Police spokesperson, that's Robert Nichunda, has again appealed for calm, urging communities to refrain from criminality and to allow law enforcement to do its work as demonstrations continue across the province. Now, we saw many of the planned marches, including one organized by the March and March movement through the streets of Durban, are expected to get underway within the next hour. Police say they remain on high alert and will continue monitoring all protest activity to ensure it remains peaceful. For Eyewitness News, I'm Kosi Konamalingam reporting live in Durban, KwaZulu-Natal.
In Johannesburg, the Justice Department says it has identified people who may have attempted to influence some of today's planned anti-illegal immigration protests. The claim comes as hundreds of law enforcement officers have been deployed across Gauteng, with authorities insisting they are ready to deal with any form of lawlessness. Minister Mamloko Kubai was joined by other authorities, including Premier Panyathela Show, at a briefing in Mayfair this morning. And that's where Mongezi Koko is, and we cross live to him at Arthur Block in Mayfair. Mongezi, what came out of this morning's briefing?
Well, a very good morning to you, Sfiso. Gauteng Premier Panyathela Show, Acting National Police Commissioner Buleng Dimpane, and Provincial Commissioner Toby Mtombeni have all assured residents that extensive deployments are in place to protect lives, property, and maintain law and order. The police parade ground here at Arthur Block is filled with hundreds of officers from SAPS, Metro Police, traffic law enforcement, and other security agencies, all preparing to fan out across the province as today's planned protest action gets underway. As you can hear behind me, a couple of Nyalas making their way out of this particular block. Now on the sidelines, Fiso, the briefing Minister of Justice, Mamloko Kubai, revealed that government has received information suggesting that foreign agents attempted to influence some of the planned demonstrations. Kubai says community leaders here allegedly were offered money and sponsored trips to advance the interests of those foreign actors, but declined the offers.
Somebody approaches them with an offer to support their NGOs, what could be perceived as influence to destabilize the country or influence to do something that is wrong. So that's one of the questions that we were dealing with, and we have agreed that we'll allow for DEPO to do those workshops.
Now, Spiso, authorities say they will continue to monitor the situation closely throughout the day, while urging anyone taking part in demonstrations to do so peacefully and within the law. For now, the hundreds of officers stationed on the ground are preparing to execute their duties and potentially effect arrests should the situation evolve into violence or looting. Munke Ziko Ko, Eyewitness News, reporting live in Mayfair.
And in Zimbabwe, the government there says it's happy to receive its nationals who are returning from South Africa. President Emmerson Mnangagwa has directed resources towards a safe and dignified return of Zimbabweans. Speaking at a media briefing yesterday, the country's Information and Publicity Minister Zemi Soda said Zimbabweans are always welcome in their country.
This is their country. This is their home. No matter where life has taken them, no matter the circumstances that bring them back, they will always find open arms and a warm welcome on Zimbabwean soil.
Gold is trading at $3,961.59 an ounce. The rand is at 16.46 to the dollar, 21.77 to the pound, 18.77 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $72.53 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got some delays, a slight backup really along Santon Drive. This is just as you approach Grayston Drive in the Parkmore area. There's also queuing traffic reported on the N1 South just as you approach the Baku interchange.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 19 and 22 degrees. The breaking story in EWN this hour. 5 people, including a 14-year-old, have been arrested in KwaZulu-Natal in connection with a burglary at tuck shops this morning.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an energy that connects us all.
That's what makes this one so special.
In 702, Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the city of Johannesburg. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
Seven minutes after 9 o'clock, Dumelang, welcome to the Clement Manyathela Show. It's wonderful to have you with us here on 702. I hope you're well this morning as we closely monitor the anti-illegal immigration protests across the country. The June 30th deadline that was set by protesters for illegal immigrants to leave the country is now with us, and none of us know how today is likely to go. So please be safe out there. But I really hope that today goes down in history as a day of democratic maturity and not bloodshed or violence. And I hope protesters will be able to protest peacefully and their right to march will be respected. And equally so, the police will be able to maintain law and order. We want to hear from you this morning. What are you seeing in your communities? How have you been affected by these protests today? How have your workers been affected? Are you one of those that have packed up and left, maybe as a foreign national? Are you a foreign national who has decided to stay? What's your story? Have you given your workers a day off if you have workers that are foreign nationals? Or maybe you're one of those that are participating in these protests today. Give us a call on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. So before I tell you what's coming up on the show, a few things I want to say on the open line this morning about what's happening today. And I'm interested in your thoughts as well. You may agree or disagree, but I really do believe that we must allow for multiple truths to exist at the same time. And I think what we have seen, not only since these new tensions, this new wave of tensions against illegal immigration emerged, but over the previous years, when we have seen bouts of these tensions, I don't think we've been hearing each other. I think we've dismissed each other, and that's not really helping. So first of all, I think we need to acknowledge the concerns and the anger that's being raised by protesters. Their concerns are legitimate. And yes, they may not have all the facts, and some of their anger may be influenced by misinformation, but at the base of what they're complaining about is what? Illegal immigration and its impact on this country and its people. And maybe you or in your community, you're not experiencing what the protesters are experiencing, but that doesn't erase their concerns. You know our government has failed to deal with illegal immigration. In fact, isn't that what KZN Premier Panyaza Lesufi said to us yesterday on this show when I asked what lessons government is taking from this crisis we're facing now?
We take long to take decision, Madam.
Yeah.
We take long. The issue of immigrants has been on the table for quite some time. But it's the nature of the constitution that we have in our country, because shortcuts as well don't work in government. When we run government, we can be impatient with the decision that we need to take. But if you check where we are in terms of the immigration laws and what is on the table now, I think South Africans will appreciate that if they have taken long, but at least we are on the finish line. Remember, the challenge, or what is at the center of this immigration challenge, is that we have many visas. We have visitors visa, you've got workers visa, you've got study visa, you've got all these particular visas that people abused openly so. And the reason why we had those visas because we wanted to ensure that South Africa is open on some academic fields, it's open in attracting the best skills, it's open. But when you saw this number of people seeking asylum, and then we took long to pass regulations to regulate that. And also, obviously, the challenge that we have that the remaining embarrassment to all of us is the support staff that engage in the level of corruption where they can give ID documents or home affairs related approvals without due process. Purely.
So whose fault is it then? Right? You hear Manyathela Show says, government has taken long to deal with illegal immigration. We take long to take decisions as government. It's a shame. It's embarrassing. That's what he says. He says government can't continue with schoolboy mistakes on the issue. So when government fails fundamentally like that, what do you expect for people on the ground who are being affected by their failures to do? I mean, even President Cyril Ramaphosa in his weekly newsletter yesterday acknowledged public concerns about undocumented immigration, broader security, and the pressure on public services, which he also said has not been properly addressed or dealt with by government. Take a listen to what he said when he addressed the nation a couple of weeks ago.
Over recent months, South Africans from every walk of life have raised concerns about migration and illegal immigration. These concerns are being expressed in our communities, our workplaces, our schools, our clinics, and across social media platforms. Many South Africans are asking difficult but legitimate questions. They are asking whether our borders are secure. They are concerned about jobs. South Africans are raising these matters because they are concerned about the pressure on our public services as well. They are concerned about safety, security, and the rule of law. These concerns are real. They deserve to be heard, and they deserved to be addressed.
So why do we then dismiss these concerns when there seems to be broader agreement, even from our government level, that these are legitimate concerns? So everyone agrees that illegal immigration should be addressed through constitutional processes, right? Rather than individuals taking the law into their own hands. But how did we get here? Have those constitutional processes worked? How many times have our leaders promised that our immigration system needs significant reform? Did they put the money where their mouth is? The point I'm making here is our government has failed this country, fundamentally so. And when a government fails, people will react. And that's exactly what we're seeing now. That's the first point. In fact, what we are seeing now is a vote of no confidence in our government and its ability, or lack thereof, to deal with illegal immigration. I also think that the way we have characterized these protests has not helped. I don't think that some media houses have also been responsible in how they characterize what's happening. I mean, we keep on referring to these protests as anti-migration protests. But are they anti-migration protests or are they anti-illegal migration protests? I've interviewed at least about maybe 2 leaders of these protests, and both of them said to me, we are against illegal immigration. I don't remember any of them saying migrants must just leave the country. And yet, when you look at the headlines in the newspapers, when you look at the headlines on the radio, on television, anti-migration protests. I was watching CNN, Al Jazeera. That's what you hear. That's not helping. There are certain leaders of these marches who have said many times we are against illegal immigration. What is wrong with being against illegal immigration? I mean, some media houses have called the protesters terrorists. And yes, some protesters are also calling journalists sellouts for asking questions and doing their work, which is also unacceptable. But the point is, we're not hearing each other, and that's not helping. I also think that for protesters, they must understand that they have a responsibility to follow the law. This is not a banana republic. You can't be going around and asking people to produce their documents or IDs. You can't. Only law enforcement officers can do that. Also, you lack the context of whatever documents someone produces. You have no idea if you're dealing with someone who has failed after many attempts to get the papers the correct way, either because of our system has failed or maybe corruption at Home Affairs. You don't know if the papers that they're producing are illegal or legal or fake. Are they legit? Some South Africans have been asked for IDs themselves because some protesters say they look like they're not from here. That's wild. That's irresponsible, and it should be called out. Yes, your concerns are legitimate, but you have no right to take the law into your own hands, because that's where mistakes happen. And that's when some people likely lose their lives. As we speak now, 4 people have been killed. And we cannot, on our right minds, be okay with that. We also need to have a conversation about the countries where many of these migrants are coming from. What accountability are they taking? I mean, you hear of some of the ministers from the continent. I was watching Al Jazeera last night, and I saw, I think, a senior advisor to the president in Nigeria somehow coming across as if he's putting up an ultimatum to our government. What responsibilities are countries where these migrants are coming from taking? There's a reason why people are leaving your country. No one, when they're in a happy country with great opportunities, where the economy grows and there's inclusive growth, decide to pack up and leave and go do menial jobs in other countries. And for as long as countries on this continent are not taking up responsibility and acknowledging that there's something that's need fixing at home, we're not going to be able to resolve this. You're going to point fingers at each other, and you're not looking internally to reflect on what you could have done better. I mean, Zimbabwe was saying now, oh, we welcome them back home. This is their home. Are you even taking a moment as Zimbabwe to reflect on why so many of your citizens are leaving and coming here? I don't get a sense of that reflection. I don't. All we hear is, oh yeah, they can come back home. We're happy. So we've got leaders that are delusional on this continent. And what broke my heart yesterday was seeing the children as well that are with their mothers camping outside of these embassies. Look, as a human being, I don't think you stop being human even in a time of desperation or crisis. When you see children sleeping out in the cold, when you see people losing their lives and being murdered by protesters, if that doesn't move you and you're okay with that, I'm worried about that. I'm worried about our humanity. Like, if you see people like that and you are celebrating it, you're gloating at that, I worry about where that leaves us and what's going to happen next if we're able to get ourselves to get to that level. Let me know what you think on 011-883-0702. Those are my few thoughts, and I'd like to hear what yours are. Remember, between 10 and 11 o'clock, we're going to be live on the ground with our reporters, with the SAPS, Home Affairs, the Border Management Authority, because we're trying to monitor these protests across the country. At 11 o'clock, we do our World of Work feature. Today, we're talking about what employers need to know about hiring migrants. And we wrap up the show at 11:30 with our health and wellness feature. Today, we're discussing how to gain weight in a healthy way. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Teenage, you're our first caller this morning on the open line. You're in Cosmo City. Good morning.
How are you, Clement?
I'm all right, man. Go ahead.
I want to comment about President meeting those two gentlemen of Batch and Match.
Yeah, so who did he meet again? I think he met with Ngizwe Mkhunu and Kosinati Ndabanda.
And Paget. Yes. Yeah. Do you see what's happening? That's how patriarchy works in politics.
Mm-hmm.
March and March was started by Jacinta, not by the two. But he goes and meet the two and leaves out the leader of March and March.
But who set the 30th of June deadline? My understanding is that it wasn't March and March. It was Nkosiko and Ndabandaba.
Okay, doesn't matter. But they've got their common denominator about illegal immigration. But he chooses the two. He leaves out the she because the she is more powerful. But in any case, the meeting is just to quell both of them, but at least we are happy that they are recognized and something happened. But I can tell you, Clement, I stay in Cosmo City. Illegal immigration is a problem. You know, I take her blood pills. I have to wait there for 8 hours just to get my blood pills, my blood pressure pills. And sometimes, you know, even HIV people don't get medication because they are outstocked because the illegal immigrants are taking them. Because the health department cannot account for all people. But you are right to say that right to health is okay. Then other people have to suffer. It's unfair.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, teenage, that's how our constitution is designed, right? They're saying whether you are here legally or illegally, if your life is under threat, you can be in fact assisted in our public hospitals. In fact, not only if your life is under threat, you could go give birth there. The problem is, teenage, that I agree with you has also been exploited. Remember in Limpopo, go to Limpopo and go to the hospitals near the border. There are people who cross over from Zimbabwe just so they can give birth in South Africa because they don't trust their own systems there. And what that does is, as the president also acknowledged, does put pressure on our services here.
Can I add one suggestion? If people crossing the border, they must not be deported. They must be jailed 2 to 3 years. It will set a deterrent. This thing of, I was a policeman. We used to take people to Zimbabwe with a train. The next day they're back. So if you arrest them and detain them, if they can have 600 million for 1 day, they can have 6 billion rands to build jails for illegal immigration. I'm telling you, it will work. And arrest these employers also.
Yeah, the problem is also we don't even have enough capacity in our jails. I mean, there are thousands of foreign nationals sitting in our jails right now. There are thousands of them. And there's overpopulation in our jails. And that costs a lot of money to keep them in our jails. So there needs to be a balance there. But I get your point, teenage in Cosmo City. Thank you for calling. Marco, you are in Boksburg. What do you think?
Good morning, Clement.
Sure.
We are in a silly election season where you'll find politicians, a leader in the ruling party. They won't take a specific position because they don't want to upset their voters or people that they believe will vote for them. There's no clear position on this from the ANC. And secondly, there are genuine and valid concerns from the South Africans in terms of illegal migration. However, when you go on the ground, Clement, you might have seen on social media as well as what is happening when you watch the news. The issue practical on the ground is about foreign nationals. Whether you're documented or not documented, people are beating you up in the presence of law enforcement. That is why I was saying, I tend to agree with those people who are saying the state also might be involved in this because you can't have a situation where people are openly, doing these wrong things, beating up people, and then nothing is being done in terms of those people being arrested.
Yeah, and I just wish that we could also have videos of such police officers when they're just sitting there looking the other way when there's violence and there are attacks. Because action needs to be taken against them because they are basically abdicating their responsibility. They're failing to do what their responsibility requires of them to do. It's 25 minutes after 9 o'clock. Kamo Tafadza, I'll start with you after the break. Corporates That Care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. Catch Corporates That Care this Wednesday at 10 to 9, featuring Lotto Land, Their Chief Marketing Officer, Marik Haywood, will be in conversation with Bongani Bingwa. Join us every Wednesday as we highlight the efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Corporates That Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor. 702, let's walk the talk and make a difference together.
Experience pure country allure as a VIP at this year's Hollywood Bets Durban July with Spina Zonke. Stand a chance to win VIP experiences or a share of 1.2 million rand in cash. Bet 2 rand or more on selected slots to enter. This is your moment. Release your spirit, release your victory, release your glamour with Spina Zonke. Bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Hey, we buy cars. How does it work if I want to sell my car?
We'll drive to your place. You can visit our pods. Even if you don't have space, then at the mall in a parking lot, we've got lots of depots all across the land. Contact We Buy Cars. You're in safe hands.
Wow, that's great.
We Buy Cars, the easiest way to sell your car by far.
It's your last chance to enter the Nedbank Business Ignite on 702. Entries are closing soon. This year, we're celebrating entrepreneurs who've turned personal challenges into businesses that make a real difference. Catch 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa every morning to meet the finalists and hear their inspiring stories. Go to igniteyourbusiness.co.za or primemediaplus.com to enter. You could win 200,000 Rand and the recognition your business deserves. T's and C's apply. See money differently. Nedbank, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
28 minutes after 9 o'clock. Kamo, you're calling from Johannesburg. What are your thoughts? Hi.
Yes, morning, Clement and 702 listeners. You know, the topic of illegal immigration is constantly in the topic everywhere I go in my house with my friends. And it's a very multi-dimensional topic. But I think before I say anything on it, I want to say we must never have an opinion when we don't understand the immediate problem that people face with these illegal immigrants in the country, because when you are coming from a position of privilege, which is where a lot of government officials are speaking from. But I'd just like to say that I don't understand why there's a deliberate agenda by many organizations to not accurately state what is going on. South Africans have no problem with immigrants. We've been living with immigrants all our lives, even when it was apartheid. Immigrants were here. The challenge is illegal foreigners, and the problem is that these illegal foreigners, immediately they are in the country, already they are criminals. So when we say they are committing crimes, even them being here is a criminal act on its own. But to want to come and use words like xenophobia to silence us.
Kamo, we're losing you. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you're saying to silence us. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, so something is wrong. Oh, Kamo, something is wrong with your line, my brother. I apologize for that, but we cannot hear much of what you're saying. But I think the point you were making is there's a deliberate attempt to paint most of the protesters as xenophobic, which is not necessarily the case. Let me hear from Ozzy in Midrand before the headlines. Ozzy, hi.
Hi, Clement. Great show. Clement, I am a foreign national, been in South Africa for 20 years.
Yeah.
I'm a permanent resident in the process of applying for citizenship. I got married here. I started here, got married here, I've got kids here. So this country, I need to protect this country for the sake of my children. So I want to sympathize the frustration of these marches, because if you're not careful, you know, there will be no country for our children. I'm not talking as a foreigner. I'm talking as somebody who's got children from South Africa, because they've got no any other place to go. So But this also, it's incumbent on us as foreign nation, and I hope all these other African governments, including those who have been repatriated, are taking something out of this experience to start putting pressure to our own governments back home. Because if our civil society in South Africa can gather together and put pressure on government in South Africa, why can't we do in our own countries? Why can't we put the same passion that we are here complaining and direct it to our own government?
Yeah.
I'm not going to allow as well to let the country be, damaged because I'm now also a foreigner. But now I'm not thinking for my children.
Absolutely. Yeah. Ozzy in Midrand, I agree with you, man. Thank you so much for your call. Let's get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. And when we come back, more of your calls and WhatsApps. Sfiso, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Anti-illegal immigration demonstrations have kicked off in some parts of the country today, with hundreds expected to march, calling for undocumented foreign nationals to leave South Africa. While it has been a relatively quiet start this morning, law enforcement authorities have been deployed to monitor activities. Citizens-led group March and March is spearheading today's demonstrations, with its leader Jacinta Ngobese Zuma criticizing government for not addressing what she describes as the illegal immigration crisis with the urgency it deserves. In KwaZulu-Natal, 5 people, including a 14-year-old, have been arrested this morning in connection with burglaries at tuck shops. KZN police say officers responded to reports of a group of people allegedly targeting businesses in the Mpumalanga township. EWN has reliably learned that the shops targeted are foreign-owned, but officers say it's unclear whether this is linked to the ongoing demonstrations. One suspect was found inside a container tuck shop, while 4 others, including the teenager, were arrested while allegedly trying to flee the scene. And the Justice Department says it has identified people who may have attempted to influence some of today's planned anti-illegal immigration protests. The claim comes as hundreds of law enforcement officers have been deployed across Gauteng, with authorities insisting they are ready to deal with any form of lawlessness. Minister Mamluko Kubai was joined by other authorities, including Premier Panyathela Show, at a briefing in Mayfair this morning. Mongezi Koko is there.
Gauteng Premier Panyathela Show, Acting National Police Commissioner Buleng Dimpane and Provincial Commissioner Tomim Tombeni have all assured residents that extensive deployments are in place to protect lives, property and maintain law and order. On the sidelines of the briefing, Justice Minister Mamluko Kubai revealed that government has received information suggesting foreign agents attempted to influence some of the planned demonstrations. She says community leaders were allegedly offered money and sponsored trips to advance the interests of those foreign actors, but declined the offers.
Somebody approaches them with an offer to support their NGOs, what could be perceived as influence to destabilize the country or influence to do something that is wrong. So that's one of the questions that we were dealing with, and we have agreed that we'll allow for DEPO to do those workshops.
Authorities say they will continue monitoring the situation closely throughout the day. Mongezi Koko, Eyewitness News, Mayfair in Johannesburg.
And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Travelling within the Midrand, Austin View area as well as Waterfall Estate, we've got several road closures. This is due to the anti-illegal demonstrations taking place across several areas within Gauteng. As we speak, Allendale Road towards Dane Road as well as Pretoria Main Road and Dale Road in itself closed off to traffic completely. You aren't able to use these routes. Please try to stick onto the N1 South, particularly heading towards the Baklu area or the N1 North. And then travelling in Hillborough, more roads are closed off to traffic as well due to the anti-illegal demonstrations. We're seeing Smith Street completely shut down, as well as Twist Street and even Klein Street. So traveling within the Hillborough area this morning could be problematic due to those closures. And then, of course, if you're traveling in the city of Tshwane, we do have delays that are that you can anticipate as we head into the day due to the demonstrations. But as we speak, nothing major has been reported within the CBD as well as other areas within the city of Tshwane. But please keep an eye and keep it safe on the roads. We'll have more updates at the top of the hour.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Joburg is more than a city. It's a vibrant energy that connects us all. That's why on Sunday, the 26th of July, you, APSA, and thousands of others are coming together to rediscover and celebrate the iconic inner city in the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. Join the movement with APSA and enter the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk before tickets run out. Secure your tickets at 702walkthetalk.co.za or primemediaplus.com. Josie, APSA sees you. Asambe. APSA is an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. Terms and conditions apply.
Ready for the wild? In Zambia, adventure is calling. Track lions on safari, glide past elephants on the Zambezi River, and experience nature, raw and real. Then discover the thunderous beauty of Musia Tunya at Victoria Falls. Zambia, let's explore. Start your adventure at www.zambia.travel.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We are also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comments, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we are not living up to the code, let us know on comment at 702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission. Email bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
23 minutes before 10 o'clock. This is the 702 open line, and I'm taking your calls, your WhatsApps as well. I've shared my thoughts with you about what's happening today, and I would like to hear what your thoughts are. Tafadza, you are in Midrand. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. How are you?
I'm all right, man. Go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you so much for taking my call. So basically, Clement, I've got a number of concerns. Yeah, some they are compliments. You understand? So if you look at the illegal immigrations, I think if you look at from a South African perspective, the ANC government itself, I don't think from a SADC perspective they are actually doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're actually supporting, if you look at from my country of origin, Zimbabwe. Ramaphosa was there in Zimbabwe a few weeks ago on a weekend. I don't know what that weekend was, what was happening in those farms. What does that mean? You are supporting the current government because of their liberation partnerships that they were assisted by ZANU-PF. But all the Zimbabweans flocking into South Africa, I don't believe that everyone wants to be here. Even myself, I'm here. I'm almost close to 20 years. I'm working properly. I'm fully documented, but my heart is always at home. You understand? I go frequently at home. But the situations, yes, we hear ZANU-PF. It's good. We go there. There is progress. There is remarkable progress. If you have an opportunity to go to the bed, you can see there's development, but it's not enough. We need jobs. That is what makes everybody happy. This thing, that is only a few years you are getting contracts.
Oh, Tafadzwa, the line is breaking there.
Hello?
Yeah, okay, yes. Just make the
Okay, perfect. Yes, if you look at the development that is happening,
yeah.
The go to Bed Bridge does not benefit anybody who is in Wange. You understand? We can talk about all those things. How does it benefit someone who is sitting in Zaka, rural Gerera there? Who is it going to benefit? They won't even see benefit of that. You understand? If that person had a job, you see, that is what makes the world tick. People, they need to put food on the table. But currently, it is happening. But what are they get? Living on a $50 a month, a day, it doesn't make sense at all. If ANC can pressure ZANU-PF to make sure that they do the right thing, currently you can see there's this what is called Constitutional Amendment Bill number 3. It's happening. It's already sailed through the Parliament. It's going to happen that Munangagwa will have another additional 7 years.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
But what has ZANU-PF, what has SADC, what has African Union done? There's lots of things that have happened that have actually contributed to where we are. I always read Hopewell.
Yeah, and
about
Tafatso,
ZANU-PF.
yes, I think we get the point there. And I've interviewed your ambassador before, a Zimbabwean ambassador to South Africa, a number of times, and whenever I've asked, what responsibility do you take? None whatsoever. Like, that's why I'm saying we've got delusional leaders on this continent. Like, have you had Zimbabwean leaders speak? They don't think there's anything wrong with their country. They tell you about how the economy is growing so well and things are improving. And yet you hear countless stories of human rights abuses, countless stories of people who are really trying and struggling to make ends meet. And yet you've got their leaders who are living in luxurious homes. And what do they do with our presidents here? They wine and dine together. Our president decided, meeting Mnangagwa in Zimbabwe. Oh, let's go to your farm, buddy. Let's actually chill at your farm. That's the level of relationship we're talking here. And what do you think they're doing when they're chilling at Mnangagwa's farm? Do you think the president of South Africa says to Mnangagwa, bro, you need to get your ish together here? Do you think that's the case? Do you think that was the case with the former president, Thabo Mbeki? We've got leaders in this country who looked the other side. They looked the other way. They didn't care about the crisis that was unfolding in Zimbabwe because they lacked the foresight that these are the consequences we're going to be dealing with many years later. So the ANC needs to take accountability. I mean, they are non-existent. Where are they now? You know, the ANC is known as the broad church. What that means is they are in the communities, they're in the churches. Have you seen the ANC organize a meeting in any of the communities where they're trying to hear people's concerns? Maybe you've seen it, maybe I've missed it. What have you seen the ANC do beyond just releasing statements and holding press briefings? And we're sitting here because they failed in the last over 30 years or so to deal with the issue of illegal immigration. Bongani, you're in Modderfontein. What do you think?
Clement, good morning.
Sure.
Yeah, great show. Clement, let me give you a scenario here. Suppose I'm your neighbor and I'm having a big tree in my yard. The leaves from my big tree are falling into your yard. How will you solve this problem?
I'm going to have a conversation with you.
Thank you. The same applies to illegal immigration. The owner of that tree is one person. So if that tree, the leaves are falling into my yard, I have to have a conversation with that person. If our president is bold enough, it's a matter of approaching how many presidents? I think there are 3 or 4 of those countries. I think it will save a lot of energy for the South Africans. It will save a lot of money for the South Africans. That money that is being used now for security and the stuff is supposed to be building RTP houses for people.
Yep, and these people, they only talk amongst each other when there's a crisis, like on this issue. I don't know, has the issue of illegal immigration ever been prioritized? Whether it's at the SADC summit, at an AU summit, has it ever been prioritized, like put at the top of the agenda? Or does it get prioritized only when there are now tensions in countries that are developing? Let's go to your WhatsApps on 072-702-1702.
Hey, good morning, Clement and the team. Yeah, thank you for at least clarifying that issue of the protest against migration. No, the protest is about illegal immigration that is putting so much pressure on the services that we have. I mean, it can be education, it can be hospitals. So all those things are the issues that people have been complaining about. And for some reason, you are right, the media has been ignoring this, pushing propaganda against the people of this country. So at least finally the media is starting to get us that we're talking about illegal immigration. At some point, really, it has to be controlled. Simon.
Morning, Clement. This is Lerato in Midrand. Today it's very quiet, and there's a lot of police around. I'm from Edenvale Hospital as I speak. The hospital is empty. People will be served easily. And one other thing, the delivery guys, the scooter bikes, they are nowhere to be found. Are they illegal? And the spaza shops that I used to buy it on, they're all closed. Are those people illegal? Or they're just fearing for their lives?
Well, there are people that are fearing for their lives. I've been asking you to tell us if you are out today. Are you out working if you're a foreign national? Have you decided to stay at home? Or maybe you have workers that are foreign nationals, whether here legally or not. Have you told them to stay at home? I'm getting messages from some people who are saying, I'm one of the people who have given my childminder off from today until Thursday just as a precaution, and she's working in South Africa legally. That's one of the messages I received. So the point is there are people who are here legally, but to be safe, they don't want to be out in the streets because there are some protesters who, whenever they come across someone they think is here illegally, they ask for the papers. And there are instances, we spoke about this on the open line a few weeks ago, where some people produce and then the protesters say, no, those documents are fake. How do you know? How do you know? So if someone is here illegally and they produce that evidence to you, how do you even know that what they're producing is legit? And we're losing context here. This thing is so nuanced. Like, there are certain people who have struggled to get their right papers. Why? Because Home Affairs wants them to pay a bribe. But also there are certain people who are here illegally and they're not interested in even getting the right papers because they've taken advantage of the loopholes and the weaknesses in our systems. So as a protester, how do you differentiate between the two? And that's where it gets dangerous. And that's why there are people today who have decided, I'm not going to open my shop. I'm not going to go to work. And some of them, it's because they just don't want to be caught in the crossfire. Because as legally here as they are also concerned about their safety. It's 12 minutes before 10.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9. The Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Minister Mameluko Kubai. We're an anxious nation today, are we not?
I guess South Africans have the right to expect to be protected, and we can assure them that the state will definitely ensure that their lives and their livelihoods are protected.
The President has said there's no national shutdown, but already we are seeing many businesses have taken extra precautions, some opting not to open. Certainly, police visibility is welcome, but many using even private security to safeguard their businesses.
We work together with private sector in terms of business against crime. We as the state have said that it's a normal day. The President has announced.
What happens next, Minister?
We'll continue to have things under control. We have an obligation as the state to protect South Africans.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
On Sunday, the 26th of July, ABSA and Mazda are making your 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk truly iconic with a chance to win a brand new Mazda 2 on the day. To enter, download, register, and transact on the ABSA banking app between the 26th of June and 20th of July 2026. Josie, ABSA sees you. Asambe. ABSA is an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. Competition terms and conditions apply.
Yo, nothing humbles you like a cold shower.
Happens fast, eh? 1 minute you're living your best life.
Next minute you're questioning everything.
Fair. Here's a quick tip. If your geezer's acting up, don't wait for disaster. Small fixes now save big problems later.
And remember, if you buy cheap, you will shower in the lounge.
We've got loads more tips where that came from.
Quickot, #1 in water heating solutions. Quickot,
add warmth to life.
Your friend's cell phone just got stolen. Now they're using yours to find out if it was covered outside of their home.
Turns out, it wasn't. Meanwhile, Santam covers your cell phone anywhere, along with your laptop and smartwatch. Even your bicycle would be covered, if you could ride one. You insured nice, not twice. Get cover for your valuables online or call 0860 444 444 to get a quote. Santam, this is freedom. Santam is an authorized FSP, a licensed non-life insurer and a controlling company for its group companies.
When the people of Joburg unite for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk on Sunday, the 26th of July, your safety is our priority. Working closely with the South African Police Service, the JMPD, private security teams, emergency services, city wardens, and other key stakeholders, there's a complete and comprehensive safety plan in place every step of the way. And there's a safe park and ride to the start at Ellis Park thanks to Gautrain and Prasa. So come along and walk the iconic inner city with us by entering on primemediaplus.com now. The 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the city of Joburg. Walk with the people, for our Josie. Babize bonke. More on primemediaplus.com.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
9 minutes before 10 o'clock. Let's go to Eric, who is calling us from Mamelodi. Eric, what are your thoughts? Good morning.
Hi, Clement. How are you?
Shop, man. Go ahead.
Shop. Okay. Look, now the biggest issue that I have is the response from the government, especially from the justice and security clusters. Now, I'm saying that the foreign agents that are trying to destabilize the country. I think from my view, it's not the right response, and this is not the first occurrence that there is tension between South Africans on the issues of illegal immigration. They are not dealing with the issue. They're just postponing it for another term, whereby now it's going to get worse because everyone else now is aware that there are issues, and you've seen with regards to the marches as to how the response has been from South Africans. So the government, it's actually not played nicely. We're going to have issues, and they're going to be saying no. There was no crisis like they said previously. So that's exactly, and that's the biggest problem because I don't think they take residents' concerns seriously.
Well,
and that's where the issue is.
When it gets to this level, Eric. And
exactly.
They are so reactive. So they only do when people start getting killed and there are threats of violence. That's when government reacts. And it's a sad reality because they are setting a precedent here. They are. Next time, when people want to get the attention of government, they're going to do extreme things. They have waited. There are bouts of these attacks that come once in a while. It happened in 2008. It happened in 2016, 2017. It's happening now. These big bouts of tension. And then our government then gets up. They want to address the nation. They want to send Home Affairs officials on the ground. They want to send ministers to go monitor areas. But there's never really been an interest to prioritize this until there's pressure to do so. And that's the price you pay, I guess, as a government. Shimron, you are in Sandton. Hi.
Hi, Clement. Morning to you and your listeners.
Sure.
There's a brilliant Netflix show which I highly recommend. It's a dark satirical show narrated by Peter Dinklage, and it's called How to Be a Dictator. And it satirically shows how the worst dictators controlled their people. And the two which are relevant to this thing was Idi Amin, who had exactly the same thing. He expelled all Indians in the 70s from Uganda, and some of the most racist, xenophobic rhetoric that we've ever seen, and Joseph Stalin. And Joseph Stalin said that distract people whenever you are being not performing in terms of what you're supposed to be doing, distract your population for another emotive issue. This is their playbook 101. I know a lot of these people that were former ANC people. I was on the SRC a year before Floyd Shivambu, a few years before Mbuyiseni and Ndlozi. I'm not saying they're behind this specific thing, but these are they are best friends with Jacinta Zuma and those people, and that is their exact playbook. As soon as you do not perform, you distract with another emotive issue, such as this, which you know the man on the street will get extremely emotional, and you allow that to play out. And it is literally from those two dictators' playbooks. It is so obvious, it's as clear as day. And while obviously we need to have illegal immigration, we can't have it get out of control. The fact of the matter is, we also shouldn't allow these evil political leaders to pull the wool over our eyes, such as former President Zuma, who I have no doubt has something to do with this, just like he was the ringleader of the 2021 riots, and all of his various disciples. We need to stop being abused and misused by our politicians for their own nefarious purposes.
Which politician now is doing that? Who is in power, Shimron? Who's in
The ones that are doing this, I don't know if they're in power, although I'm sure that a faction of the ANC is not upset about this, because Leon Schreiber, the DA minister, is the immigration minister, the Home Affairs minister. And so they're certainly not upset about bringing this as an issue, because they know that the polls are showing they're probably going to get maximum, 30% in Joburg currently as things stand, and 20% in eThekwini. So they need an issue. They desperately need an issue. They know Cyril Ramaphosa, I think that he is well-intentioned, but he is surrounded by an entire party who is 99.9% a den of thieves and corrupt, amoral, money-hungry individuals, and so they need this.
Yeah, so Shimron, I don't know if I completely agree with you, but I appreciate what you're raising. I do think that takes us back to the point I was trying to make when I started the show. Not everything needs to be politicized and philosophized. Not everything needs to be politicized. Of course, in every single scenario, there is an opportunity to weaponize whatever the concerns that some people may have. But the minute you don't see and hear people's concerns and you want to make it about politics, you want to make it about what dictators have done and how this is going to benefit the politicians, you're completely missing what is being raised on the ground. And I think that's why we are where we are now. We have failed to hear each other. When people are telling you that I live in Cosmo City or I live in Soweto, I live here, this is how I'm affected by illegal immigration, then you think that's wild because you live in a place that's not necessarily affected by illegal immigration. And your experience is valid. Equally so, the experience of someone who's telling you of how they're impacted by illegal immigration is valid. I mean, the president himself acknowledges that these are legitimate concerns. The illegal immigration is a crisis in this country. We have failed to deal with it. So why do we want to bring in politics? Which sure can be an aspect of what we're dealing with, because there are politicians who are always going to come in for political expediency to push their agenda. But we need to stop making the mistake of not hearing people just because what they're experiencing is not what we are experiencing. It's a minute before 10. When you're walking the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk on Sunday, the 26th of July, keep your eyes open because Mazda is bringing wonder to the 8-kilometer route. There'll be 5 Mazda wonder experiences, including a piano performance, a world of color, a bubble-filled, a Japanese garden, and the Mazda Wonder Hub. Visit one of the 5, then capture and share your wonder moment on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. Tag and follow @MazdaSA using the hashtag MazdaSA, and you could win your share of 50,000 Rand. Mazda, where wonder awaits. T's and C's apply.
At the 702 Josie Majosi Walk the Talk, snap and share all 5 Mazda Wonder experiences using hashtag MazdaSA to stand a chance to win a share of 50,000 Rand.
Catch the Springboks live at Ellis Park Stadium this year. Lions fans, get ready. Secure your all-inclusive Lions membership package to watch the Springboks versus England and the All Blacks. Or from just 950 Rand, get your Lions-only package and unlock access to every Lions match at Ellis Park. All packages include the massive clash between the Lions and the All Blacks this August. Memberships are available now at Ticket Pro or through our stadium ticket office. Visit lionsrugby.co.za for package options. Own the season and get behind your team.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Anti-illegal immigration demonstrations have kicked off in some parts of the country this morning, with hundreds expected to march calling for undocumented foreign nationals to leave South Africa. While it has been a relatively quiet start today, law enforcement authorities have been deployed to monitor activities. Citizens-led group March and March is spearheading today's demonstrations, with its leader Jacinta Ngobese Zuma criticizing government for not addressing what she's described as the illegal immigration crisis with the urgency it deserves. Acting Police Minister Firoz Kachalia has vowed officers are on high alert, with 600 million rand set aside for security today. Government has sent a stern warning for all march participants to demonstrate peacefully with no violence, no intimidation or destruction of property. We've got our reporters tracking today's activities in most parts of the country, and our coverage at this hour begins in the capital, where protesters have gathered at Church Square in Pretoria. Ntokozo Khumalo is there and joins us now live. Ntokozo, how's the security looking there?
Hi, Speaker. Well, a multidisciplinary law enforcement is currently on the ground of the CBD of Pretoria. A few people have started songs chanting that they are fighting for their country and for their children. A protester had shared with us, Utumisang Mabula, says that they need the government to enact the law because they need this illegal immigration crisis to end. Here's what she has to say.
I'm here to join March and March because it is my moral obligation as a South African to come here and support fellow South Africans who are here to force the South African government to do its job. We are not xenophobic. We don't hate Africans.
And she really added that they will not stop until the government responds to them. Well, the protest is expected to go across the city in about 10 o'clock, which is already starting as it is. Ntokozo Khumalo, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
And law enforcement agencies are already monitoring the situation in some parts of Diepkloof. That's where Khomotso Modise is. Khomotso, what's the update where you are?
Well, so I've now moved from the Diepkloof Square area all the way into deeper Soweto around the Thokoza Park area, where I've just found a group of demonstrators gathered here. It's a relatively small group, CISO, but they are ready to march. We understand that they'll be moving from Thokoza Park all the way to the Soweto Theatre area, where they will continue to protest and demonstrate. There's also representatives from different political parties or people that are dressed in political party regalia here, all singing one song as they prepare to have their march and their demonstration, which is likely to begin any moment now. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News reporting live from Thokoza Park.
In KwaZulu-Natal, the last and final group of Malawans in Pietermaritzburg is preparing for departure as more buses arrive to make pickups. For weeks now, the group voluntarily camped at the Mayor's Walk, citing concerns and fear ahead of today's demonstrations. We cross now live to Nhlanhla Mabaso in Pietermaritzburg. Nhlanhla, what's the situation with the Malawian nationals there?
So more than 10 buses arrived here at the Mayor's Walk in the early hours of this morning for repatriation. There are an additional 2 to 13 buses that left the site last night. This group is being taken to Mosina in Limpopo, where a site has been prepared for them. Police have maintained a heavy presence and will escort the buses. Malawi national Alex Mustafa says he hasn't been home for the past 10 years now.
Yeah, I'm going home today. I'm going to come back, but even I got a paper, passport, because this country is a nice one.
There has not been any protest action as it stands, but gatherings are expected to emerge this morning. So Eyewitness News, I'm reporting live from Pietermaritzburg.
Meanwhile, in Limpopo, the Home Affairs Department in Messina has been inundated by thousands of the Malawian nationals that are coming from Durban and Pietermaritzburg. They are seeking documents that will allow them to return home. Alpha Ramushwana is in Messina and joins us now live. Alpha, I can imagine you're bracing the heat there. What's happening on your end?
Of course, Siso, in Messina's scorching heat, thousands of Malawian nationals have been camped outside the Home Affairs office since last night. Among them are several mothers who appear to have no choice but to seek shade from the sun while breastfeeding their babies. Siso, their large bags have now become makeshift pillows and sources of comfort, which they say is better than the concrete pavement they were told to sit on. I spoke to Ismail Omar, a Malawian national desperate to return home, who says there are not enough buses available to take them to Lilongwe.
When we leave that place by Durban, we was bathing there, we was eating food. But from yesterday up to now, we are never ever eating anything. You know our situation, we don't have any money. We never carried anything. So our situation is very tight here. So we spoke to our ambassadors, please do something early, because the situation here is very tight.
So once the Malawian nationals have obtained the required documents, the port of entry at Bait is expected to record high volumes of people crossing into Zimbabwe. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, reporting live from Messina in Limpopo.
You can follow our reporters on X at EWN Reporter and all our EWN digital platforms for more coverage. Gold is trading at $3,961.59 an ounce. The rand is at 16.46 to the dollar, 21.77 to the pound, 18.77 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $72.53 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got several roads closed off to traffic in Midrand, Austin View. This is along Dale Road, Allendale Road, along with Pretoria Main Road. Please try to avoid these routes if you're especially traveling to areas like Baklu as well as Sunny Hill. While traveling within the Joburg CBD, more roads have been closed off to traffic due to the anti-illegal demonstrations taking place today. Smith Street, Twist, as well as Klein Street closed off to traffic there.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 19 and 22 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Anti-illegal immigration demonstrations have kicked off in some parts of the country today, with hundreds expected to march, calling for undocumented foreign nationals to leave South Africa.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
On Sunday, 26 July, 7:02 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk unites us all in the iconic Joburg CBD. 7:02 Walk the Talk. Abize bonke. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
9 minutes after 10 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show as we try and monitor what's happening across all our 9 provinces. The June 30th deadline that was set by protesters for illegal immigrants to leave the country is now with us, and none of us really know how today is likely to go, which is why I've been asking you to tell us what you are seeing in your corner of South Africa. I'd like to hear from you. What are you seeing in your community? How have you been affected by these protests today? How have your workers been affected? Are you one of those that have packed up and left? Are you a foreign national who has decided to stay? What's your story? Have you given your workers a day off if you've got foreign nationals who work for you? Or maybe you are one of those participating in these protests today. Your calls on 011-883-0702, and I've been getting lots of your WhatsApps on 072-702-1702.
Clemens, I think the biggest problem is the SADC community. All the heads of state need, when they meet, not to get together and pat each other on the back. They need to realize colonialism has left their countries many, many years ago. So in some cases, 50 years, 30 to 50 years or longer. It's time that they sit and they stabilize their country. these ongoing wars everywhere. That is why people are moving. If your country is stable, people will not move. Your economy will grow. Let's address the real issue. Those are the things that force people to go. Instability, no opportunity. And even in South Africa, where we have 60% of our youth unemployed, people are still coming here because our set of circumstances are better than the DRC or Zimbabwe or wherever. So let's stabilize the African continent. Let our leaders work towards that and our policy holders as well.
Good morning, Clement. Clement, we have a weak government that does not listen to the people of the country. You know, in 2008, people complained about illegal foreigners. Government, what did they do? Nothing. In 2015, if I remember, there was something like this again, and government didn't do anything. 2018, Ramaphosa sent the convoys to the countries in like Nigeria to go and apologize. So this government of ANC, they don't care about the matter of illegal foreigners. Now they're talking as if they're going to do something, but there's nothing that is going to be done by these people.
Hey, 702 and its listeners, Anonymous from Johannesburg. Just wanted to give a comment on the illegal foreigners in the country. Why don't they have paperwork? I know there's a percentage of them that the government is taking too long to approve their visas. That doesn't account for the millions of others. Why can't they apply for visas? Is there a reason? Could they be criminals? And if they are criminals, and if they apply for a visa, it'll be rejected. I can see maybe there's a problem there. So let's start talking about that. And why would they be rejected a visa? Anonymous from Johannesburg.
Good morning, Clement and 702 listeners. Clement, multiple truths can exist at the same time. The big elephant in the room here is the Home Affairs through the government that has failed to document people, dysfunctional Home Affairs, where people wait 2-3 years for documentation without any response. Some eventually give up and become undocumented. Yes, there's a concern, a big concern of illegal migration that cannot be dismissed. Thirdly, then there is an issue of politicians and political parties who are weaponizing this issue of illegal immigration, and it has fueled xenophobia, Afrophobia. Political parties, you can look at KZN and see what is happening there. If you go on the ground, there is no distinction between undocumented or documented. The messages are toxic, vile, against African migrants. Whether you're documented or not, they're chasing you out. Thank you.
Look, I agree with some aspects of what you're saying, but also there are people who take advantage and they just come here illegally. So let's also not justify their actions. There are people who are in this country who have taken advantage of our weaknesses, the weaknesses in our systems, and they are here illegally. They have paid bribes, not because they were demanded, but they chose to pay bribes because they knew they don't qualify for any work visas or any other visa they wanted to go for in this country, and they're here. So, again, as I said when I started the show, multiple truths can exist at the same time. And I think we need a balanced approach to how we're looking at this. It's 14 minutes now after 10 o'clock.
You're with Clement Manyathela.
702.
All right, let's take you to the Johannesburg CBD now. That's where we find our EWN reporter, Mongezi Koko, who's joining us now on the line for an update on what you are seeing there in the Johannesburg CBD. Mongezi, thank you so much for joining us. Government was telling us that today is going to be a normal day, but when you look at some of the videos that are coming out of the CBD, it's looking quite quieter than ordinary.
In fact, on the contrary, Clement, good morning. It's quite intense here in the CBD where I am. Now, initially, a number of the protesters and the organizing groups had indicated where their starting points would be, but we learned as EWN that some of the Amabuto or the people affiliated to the Royal Amabuto, are currently stationed in the inner city and where they're mobilizing. We've seen a crowd of as large as 3,000. You can hear them in the background. They are now dividing into splinter groups and going around as they continue to mobilize. Now, when we did start earlier on in the day, we started off at the Bayers Nadir Square, and this is where we saw a group of about 100 people in anticipation for some of the organizers. But right now, what I'm seeing is a much larger group. I'm seeing roads that are now currently being closed that were not initially communicated to the city of Johannesburg and or SAPS officials. Now, we did start out earlier, Clement, with the SAPS and other law enforcement officials at the author block, where we saw the massive display of about 15 helicopters and, of course, the 13,000 SAPS members that are going to be deployed across the province. This in addition to private security personnel and some other law enforcement agencies. But for now, I'm seeing about 5-6 JMPD vans, and this is because, of course, information and word is currently getting out, but there isn't really a clear law enforcement presence over here, but instead a really large group of anti-illegal immigration protesters, all still mobilizing. I'm seeing a lot of taxis coming in, hooting and bringing more participants. It's really a situation that's devolving by the minute.
Yeah. And in terms of the residents of the city of Johannesburg, are you seeing anything unusual? Like, have people decided to come out and continue trading, going to work? What are you seeing?
This was something that we observed earlier on as EWN, where we did see your usual traders outside the Bree taxi rank, MTN taxi rank, where they were selling Magwenya and whatever else could be sold at that moment. But for now, those groups that we had seen earlier have completely disappeared, and I'm talking about the traders. Now we're currently seeing that all businesses, and I mean literally all businesses in the Joburg CBD are currently closed, and we're seeing this group swelling and filling up the streets. Right now, the main road here on parts of the court is impassable, and this is because they have all basically covered the street. I must add that, Clement, it's a huge group. I don't know how to properly relay it in words, but this is also unexpected because, like I said, SAPS was only informed of the march starting in the CBD around the Bayers Nadir Square, but now it's moved on to the deeper part of the inner city.
Got you. Mongezi, thank you so much for that update live to us from the Johannesburg CBD. Let's move now to another hotspot of these anti-illegal immigration protests. Let's move to the Durban CBD now in KwaZulu-Natal. Nkosikona Malengamnisi is our EWN reporter who's stationed there. And Nkosikona, thank you for also coming through. What are you seeing that side? What's happening?
Good morning to you, Clement, as well as the listeners, and thank you very much for having me on the program. In fact, my colleague and I got over Jan taking a drive around Durban so that we are able to really bring you the holistic picture where we speak of the Durban CBD. As you rightly said, Clement, one of the hotspots that the security forces or the security cluster has identified. And similarly, we have the same challenge, that Mongez is having up in Joburg, in that there now appears to be uncertainty as to how many marches the police were aware of officially, because you're now seeing, or we're getting reports of marches being gathered at different places. The one main march was that by the March movement, and that's expected to leave King Dinizulu Park, headed for the Point area, specifically the Point police station. You may ask why, Clement. The reason is because that has been an area where a lot of foreign nationals have been living for a very long time, for many years. And also, there's been allegations of drug lords and drug peddling activities. That's one of that these groups have made in terms of saying that they believe.
Oh, yeah, Nkosikona Malengamnisi, the line is disappointing us there. It just keeps on breaking. Tell you what, we'll try and come back to you before we wrap up our broadcast this morning, just to get a sense of what's happening in the Durban CBD. I want to bring in now Lieutenant General Tebello Musikidi, who is the Deputy National Commissioner for Policing, joining us on the line. Lieutenant General, thank you for making time for us. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and good morning to your listeners.
What update can you give us this morning? What has transpired? I saw earlier on that there were a few people who were arrested. Some people tried to loot some shops. What can you give us an update on based on what's been happening since the early hours of this morning?
Thank you, Clement, and thanks for the opportunity to update the country in regards to the current situation of the marches and the protests that we were anticipating and we are observing across the 9 provinces of our country. Yes, there were incidents that went out of what has been communicated by the organizers of these marches, and the police reacted swiftly. I can confirm, Clement, that from 5 o'clock last night throughout the night until 5 this morning, we have been policing at least 21 incidents. 17 of those were related to the current situation of anti-foreign and national-related 17 issues. And 4 of them were community protests and 2 were community protests. It is a service delivery marches that we also managed, and 2 were major crime scenes that we also managed. In terms of the breakdown, you will recall that when we were communicating, we said we will also look at our hotspots provinces. In the province will also have the hotspots district that they are monitoring. And in Mpumalanga, I can say there are 2 areas where we have seen the sporadic issues that happened at the areas that were not flagged as the flashpoint, but because we then deployed at any other area that also require a police response, they managed to respond to those 2 incidents. One, there were burning tires that happened just after 4 o'clock this morning. And when it was a group of young boys, the people who have observed that gave an update were saying they were not even more than 10. They tried to pack, because we are collecting where we see tires being piled. They burned those tires, but the police responded, they ran away, and that was extinguished. That fire was extinguished, and the tires were then removed from the street. One incident in Mpumalanga, again, Clement, there are containers or the areas where the people are selling, the vendors. There are structures where there are vendors that are selling vegetables and stuff. Majority, I am told, that people that are selling there are foreign nationals. So those structures were burned down as well last night just after 10, and the fire was extinguished. They ran away. The police remain in that area because it is very dark. So these are the 2 significant incidents. Myself, I was on the ground since this morning. I just arrived at the operational center to get the latest reports from 5 to 10. The report that I still do not have. I'm just waiting for the update. I attended a crime scene in Velbekend here in Gauteng, where there was a burning truck. When the report came, you will not just say it's an accident. I responded to that area where there was a truck on fire. What happened, Clement, in that particular incident is that there was a tire burst. The truck was having a container at the back. That is the part that the burst happened, and as it swerved outside of the road, it then catches fire, and the community responded. The CPF in Velbeken responded. Why significance of reporting this particular incident is because the people that were inside the truck were 13, including the driver and the assistant. 13, and you know that the truck will take 2. If it is more, it will be 3 people sitting in front They will have a bed at the back of the driver's seat. There is a space on these long-haul trucks where when the driver is tired or the assistant driver can sleep in the other one. So the 13 people that came out of that truck, Clement, I'm not sure if we can make that they were sitting, and all adults, it's all adult people that were in there. One of the people that were assisting us got into the container that was on fire, and he could identify the spot where at the back of that particular container, you could see that people could have been sitting there.
Yeah.
These are things that we only see on the movies. You will never think that they are real. And I did interview one of the occupants, and it's one disturbing incident. They are currently at the police station to be processed.
Okay.
All of 11 are illegal in the country. They don't have
They don't have the papers. Okay. I want to ask quickly, because I'm out of time, before we wrap, about what are the protesters allowed to do and what are they not allowed to do? Or maybe let's focus on what you have said as the police that is not acceptable. The machetes, the knobkeries, the sticks that they're going around brandishing as they protest. Is that still allowed? Because on the screens now I'm seeing a number of protesters who are carrying machetes, who are carrying knobkeries and sticks while they're protesting. Is that allowed? And how are the police then responding to, these crowds of people?
Clement, I thank you very much for that. I think what I was reiterating throughout the interviews that we had, and my colleagues, the provincial commissioners that were requested to do the same, was to indicate and read from what is in the laws. What we were communicating is what is contained in the law that we are to enforce. And sadly, I'm not sure, Clement, if it is a don't care attitude, and I did allude to the fact that we should not be tested, because when that happened, you really want the police to respond, and the manner of the response, we all know that it can flare up the situation, it can take the situation out of control, but the colleagues must evaluate the situation where they are, and they will take a operational decision, what will be appropriate at the time when this is happening. I'm watching now Gugompo, the provincial commissioner is there. I have been listening to the person that you were talking to earlier, who was giving updates of the march that is observing here in Gauteng. It is that unfortunate situation that you will see these people that will do things that are outside of the same constitution that they are exercising. It's clear. We have laws. Dangerous Weapons Act clearly subscribe what are the objects. As long as they have the potential of inflicting harm, they are not. A march should be a march. A demonstration should be a demonstration. We see on TV in other countries where people are marching, they will carry placards with the message that they want to deliver, but this one, it's not one of them.
Lieutenant General, thank you so much for joining us. That's Lieutenant General Tebelo Musiki, the Deputy National Police Commissioner for Policing.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
Lots of press briefings about the fact that there is intelligence to deal with any criminality and all of the things that are anticipated. I'm not hearing the conversation about what happens on the 1st. It's almost as if everything is about the 30th of June and nothing but the 30th of June. But man, there's the 1st, then the 2nd. If indeed there is some nefarious activities planned, then they've got you. Because all of your resources have been focused on this one day about the 30th of June, the 30th of June.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
On Sunday, the 26th of July, 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk will take you and the rest of Joburg on a scenic walk through the iconic inner city, and you better keep your eyes open and take it all in, because 5 Mazda Wonder experiences await all along the 8-kilometer route. Get captured by the surprise grand piano performance, step into a world of color, lose yourself in a giant bubble-filled pause in the tranquil Japanese garden, then pop into the Mazda Wonder Hub. And when you've visited at least one of the 5 Mazda Wonder experiences, share your wonder moments with family and friends on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. Tag and follow at Mazda SA using at hashtag Mazda SA, and you could win your share of 50,000 Rand. Thanks to Mazda, where wonder awaits. Official vehicle partner of 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. T's and C's apply.
Ready to buy your dream car, put an offer in on a new house, or take out that personal loan? Make 2026 your year with Postnet and Huru. Visit your nearest Postnet store to get a comprehensive credit report from 4 of SA's leading credit bureaus sent straight to your phone. For only 135 Rand, take charge of your future with a clear picture of your financial position and how to improve it. Why second guess your credit rating when you can be certain? Get your Huru and Kudo credit report at Postnet today. Postnet, helping you succeed.
When you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Nedbank is more than just a bank. We're a growth partner because we understand that real success happens when you're looking ahead, spotting opportunities others miss, and planning for tomorrow today. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank. We're licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
The 2026 Jazz for Young People is brought to you by the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz. Bring your family, your friends to this exciting family-friendly concert curated by the Young for the Young, all in support of fundraising for the music department at the National School of the Arts. Expect a day filled with great music, delicious food and drinks, arts and crafts, and a dedicated kiddies corner. Enjoy live performances curated by Msaki, the NSA band featuring Msaki, Vuyo Viwe, the Music Academy of Gauteng, East Rand School of the Arts, and many more talented young performers. Join us on the 25th of July, 2026 at the National School of the Arts in Braamfontein. Tickets are selling out fast on Quicket with prizes starting from just 50 Rand for children. If you can't attend the show, you may also pledge your 100 Rand donation to the fundraiser via Quicket. Jazz for Young People, do good for a worthy cause. 10:32, Sfiso has the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Anti-illegal immigration demonstrations have started in many parts of the country today. People are protesting and marching for undocumented foreign nationals to leave South Africa, and people are starting to gather on the edge of Johannesburg's inner city as police scramble to contain the growing crowd. While the situation remains peaceful for now, more people are expected to join. We cross now live to Mongezi Koko, who's outside Jeppe near Hillbrow. Mongezi, the protest is moving fast.
That's right, Sfi. So what started as a small gathering has swelled into a crowd of well over 4,000 people, with more protesters arriving by the minute to join what is fast becoming one of the largest demonstrations of the day. Police vehicles and officers continue to trickle into the area as they try to get a handle on the growing numbers. Authorities have indicated that this particular gathering was not communicated to law enforcement in advance. Around us, the impact is already being felt. Many businesses across the CBD have closed their doors, street vendors have packed up, and commuters are watching from a distance as a crowd continues to build. Despite the intense atmosphere, there have been no reports of violence, looting, or any confirmed injuries. Now, Swiso, for now, all eyes remain on how police will manage the movement as it continues to gain momentum. Monkey Ziko. Eyewitness News, reporting live in Jeppe.
Meanwhile, business activity in parts of Cape Town CBD has slowed today, with foreign-owned businesses choosing to stay shut. In Strand Street and around the Grand Parade, container businesses, informal stalls and gazebos have been packed away, leaving only a handful of South African vendors operating. Fruit vendor Mohammad Mustafa says he normally makes around 2,000 Rand in the morning, but today he's made only 300 Rand.
Like quiet, it's like struggling for me to look for people. The shop here opposite us is like giving for me customers every morning. Like this time the customers come, they buy coffee by the shop. Like I come here to master the buy bananas, apples, like you see every day. Then I make my profit, you see.
Meanwhile, spice trader Liz Daniels, who's been operating at the Grand Parade for the past 2.5 years, says the absence of foreign national traders has not affected her business.
I appreciate the fact that, yes, we must get not the rid, but we have to let the illegal foreigners get out of our country, because it's also a burden on our country if you are not documented.
We'll keep you updated on developments as they happen with our reporters found across the country. You can follow them on X at EWN Reporter and all our EWN digital platforms. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
While traveling in the city of Tshwane, more road closures have been closed off to traffic. This is due to the anti-illegal migrants demonstrations taking place across Gauteng this morning. Well, if you're traveling within the Pretoria CBD, do expect delays and disruptions around Nelson Mandela Drive towards Madiba Street, as well as Madiba Street heading towards Detroit Street. If you are traveling along the R80, we've got delays on the R80 West. This is coming out of Eskiam Pahlele. Please be on the lookout there. In Midrand, Alston View, roads are closed off to traffic. These includes Pretoria Main Road, Dale Road, as well as Islandale Road. There's also queuing traffic reported within the area just as you approach Pretoria Main Road. Then traveling within the Joburg CBD, more road closures. Routes affected include De Court, Smith Street, as well as Claim Street. That's in the Hillborough area. Please be on the lookout there and drive with care. More updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
702.
The Clement Manyathela Show.
Let's walk the talk.
It's 24 minutes before 11 o'clock. You're listening to the rolling coverage of the June 30 deadline that was set by protesters for illegal immigrants to leave the country. And we are touching base with different stakeholders, but also our reporters that are stationed in different corners of the country where these protests are taking place. And joining me now is Tami Ntuli, who is the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal. As you know, KwaZulu-Natal is one of the hotspots of the protests. In fact, just over the last couple of weeks, we were dealing with some Malawian nationals who were at Sherwood, and they were trying to be transported back to their home countries. Premier Ntuli joining us now on the line. Premier, thank you for making time. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and to the listeners at home.
Let's start with the situation at Sherwood. Do you still have some Malawian nationals there who are trying to be transported back to their home countries?
No, for Sherwood site was closed a long time ago. They've been in the drive-in in the CBD, but also that one has been closed. Yesterday, the infrastructure which was there was removed because they were transported. Few are still very few are still on there. But the site has been closed also in Pietermaritzburg because the attempt has been made for those that have been processed to leave, and for those who are still going to be processed to be transported to a site in Mosina.
And do you have a number of people who were there in KwaZulu-Natal who have since been transported by the Malawian government?
More than 15,000.
Okay, so more than 15,000
were transported, but some have not yet been processed. There are more than 20,000 when you also count those who are still going to be processed.
Okay. How ready are you as KwaZulu-Natal? Because you're one of the hotspots, we're told by the South African Police Service. What have you seen since the early hours of this morning? Any concerns, any arrests, any looting of shops, any violence that you've picked up?
Well, there are pockets of incidents which are unfortunate. Areas near the informal settlements or townships, such as Mpumalanga, where a group of people looted a container, but 5 were arrested. And what is good is that police those who are committing crime, because as much as this may be associated with these marches. To those who are not part of the marches, just ordinary criminals who were opportunists to use this day to commit crime. In the main, those who are marching, there are no incidents because they are just gathering now before they walk into the route they've decided. But we have incidents in various parts of looting, which are an indication that some really criminals decided that they were going to use this day to commit crime. But the police are there. They are all over the province of KwaZulu-Natal. The safety structures are also working with the police, and the leaders of the society, various leaders of the society are also working with the police.
Tamintuli, Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, thank you so much for joining us. It's 19 minutes now before 11. Joburg is more than a city. It's a vibrant energy that connects us all. That's why on Sunday, the 26th of July, you, ABSA, and thousands of others are coming together to rediscover and celebrate the iconic inner city in the 702 Josie Majosi Walk the Talk. Join the movement with ABSA and enter the 702 Josie Majosi Walk the Talk before tickets run out. Secure your tickets at 702walkthetalk.co.za or primemediaplus.com. Josie, ABSA sees you. Asambe. ABSA is an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. Terms and conditions apply.
Is there a word for the feeling of a road disappearing over the horizon? Beyonding? What about the feeling you get when you see sunlight flickering through rows of trees? Sun fizzing. Anyway, some things don't like to be explained. They just ask to be felt. Like the feeling of a drive built around you. Technology that's human first makes you one with your car in a way that you can't explain. You can only feel. And there's a word for that. Mazda. Wonder awaits. At the 702 Josie Majosi Walk the Talk, snap and share all 5 Mazda Wonder experiences using hashtag MazdaSA to stand a chance to win a share of 50,000 Rand.
You hear that? That's the sound of business execution finally visible. No more chasing people and reports. No more disconnected systems. No more guessing if our business is performing or not. iStratGo connects strategy, people, performance, and day-to-day work into one clear software platform, so leaders can see what's working, what's not, and where to focus. Because when execution is visible, everything runs better. Book a demo on istratgo.com. ISTRATGO.com.
Tabo's got 6 buckies running around fixing pipes, chasing invoices from Sentin to Soweto. They don't rest. But when one gets messed up in traffic, yo! That's not a scratch, my guy. No bucky, no money. But with Budget's affordable business insurance, Tabo's fleet is sorted. So when expensive days happen, his hustle keeps rolling. Visit budgetinsurance.co.za for a business insurance quote today. Budget is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
They said you weren't worth their time, but you billed anyway. You backed yourself. You didn't start this to drown in admin and survive month to month. Yoko gets that. They once gave you access, now they're giving you an unfair advantage by people who've been there too. AI that reads your business and guides your next move. Loyalty that keeps customers coming back. One platform built for your reality. Stop just running your business and get back to the reason you started it. Yoko, let's grow.
Your voice.
Your questions.
Your morning radio with Clement Manyathela.
This is 702.
15 minutes before 11 o'clock, we are closely monitoring what's happening across the country today as protesters are taking to the streets. These are people who want illegal immigrants to leave. Some of them have set the deadline of today, the 30th of June. For illegal immigrants to leave the country, and that day is now with us, and police have their hands full across the country. Alpha Ramushwana is our reporter at EWN who is live to us now from Limpopo near the Bait Bridge border. Alpha, thank you so much for joining us. I understand that you are at the site, or you were there, where the Malawans have been relocated. What can you share with us?
Good morning, Clement. Yes, I am in Messina, CBD, at the Home Affairs building, or outside the Home Affairs building. This is where we find thousands of Malawian nationals, Clement. These are the very same Malawian nationals, if you would recall, a few days ago, were involved in a clash with police in KZN, in Durban specifically. They were transported through buses to Messina at this Home Affairs building, where they are being assisted with whatever they need to be able to cross from South Africa into Zimbabwe and to Lilongwe, where they are from. So at this moment, it's a very large group of Malawian nationals who really just want to go home as they camp outside this Home Affairs building. They spent the night here. They were dropped off last night. And really, Sito, you can see that they are tired, that they just want to go home. They just want to see the buses arriving and Home Affairs opening the gates to them. I mean, they're using their bags and their blankets as pillows and sources of comfort on the concrete floor that they've been sitting on since last night, the same concrete floor which they slept on, Clement. So really, you can see the frustration on their faces.
Okay. And have you seen, lots of people moving in between the border? What are you picking up in as far as movement from the South African side is concerned?
Yeah, no, we started the morning at the Bike Bridge border, and really there wasn't any activity at all. There were no buses that we could see moving from South Africa and into Zimbabwe. The only thing that we saw were normal motorists and trucks that are moving from our country, South Africa, to Zimbabwe. But in terms of the foreign nationals who want to return home, there hasn't been any movement. We did see some movement last night. There was a long convoy of buses, Clement, which was approaching the border. But this morning, there was really no activity at all as far as they are concerned. I understand that soon after they get their papers fixed at this Home Affairs building, then they'll be able to pass through the port of entry.
All right. Alpha Ramushwana, EWN reporter, thank you so much for making time for us. Let's bring in now Dr. Leon Schreiber, who's the Minister of Home Affairs, joining us on the line. Minister Schreiber, thank you so much for your time. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. Good to be with you.
Good. So I want to start off with just your assessment. You have now been minister in that portfolio for some time now. And I would like to know where you think the weaknesses were, because we find ourselves with this crisis and we didn't just end up here. There have been failures in our system and maybe failures in just implementing the law. From what you have observed, why are we here?
Yeah, I think that's a fundamental question. I think the answer is twofold. And I think you see this really emphasized in the findings of the Special Investigating Unit, which investigated this period between 2004 and 2024, when a lot of these issues would have been building up. And I think, firstly, it's of course the matter of accountability for people who have done wrong. But I think perhaps the part that we often don't emphasize enough, and which also comes through clearly there, is the systemic weaknesses. And that's really been the focus over the last 2 years of all the reforms that we are driving. The one thing they have in common is that we have to close the space for discretion, where there is an official who can basically hold an application hostage or can determine outcome, can accept a piece of paper as authentic or not, based on whether they can be bribed. And I think that's the reality of the situation. So all of the reforms have to flow from that particular insight, that we need accountability for people who have been involved in this. And we've dismissed around 60 people from Home Affairs. There's been a number of arrests, convictions, another 34 from the Border Management Authority. But then it's about closing the loopholes and closing the space for discretion. And that's where our big focus on technology really comes in. So at the highest level, in terms of your question, I think those are the two biggest elements.
Okay, so how are we dealing with it now? Because now there are some people that have left the country with the assistance of their embassies. There are thousands others that have been deported to their countries who have been here illegally. But if we still have systematic weaknesses, the loopholes are still there, these people are just going to return like they have been over the years.
Yeah, I think maybe to just quickly say, I was listening to your reporter there. We were on site yesterday preparing the facility where we want to move that he's describing. So that work continues, and they will then be processed in an orderly and dignified manner to make signature reform is the electronic travel authorization, the ETA system that we've been speaking about. Because if we're talking about people who enter through the ports of entry, it's again the discretion and the space that is created for people to manipulate whether you get a stamp or not, to put it somewhat simply. That is what we must address. And so the ETA, again, is not something that started today. It's been in the works for 2 years now. It's gone live for 4 different countries. These are people arriving by air in this initial phase, from China, India, Indonesia, and Mexico. It went live in October, Clement. We've got 85,000 applications that have been processed through the ETA, including 5,500 that were declined. Again, because we now have digital automated systems which pick up if the passport is fraudulent, which picks up if the face doesn't match the passport photo. And then there's no space. There's no opening there to insert a 200 Rand to change the outcome. It's an automatic process which is flagged in that way. And then when you come to the port of entry, the other critical reform is that it's a camera there that again you will look into the camera, and that will then link to your application and say this is the correct person who has arrived. So that system is live. It's not hypothetical. It exists at OR Tambo, Cape Town, and King Shaka. It's currently processing at the immigration counters. You'll see ETA signs there. It's processing only nationalities from those 4 countries. Our big next step is to scale this up for everyone who needs a tourist visa to come to South Africa. That is really within a few weeks from now, we'll be making what is a massive quantum leap forward, because for the first time, at least for people who are here on short visits, we will start seeing that kind of biometric technology where you have automation and closing of loopholes systematically rolled out. And then our target within the next 12 to 18 months is to add every other visa category. Think about study visas, which the SIU has flagged. In that case, we've always relied on an admission letter. Now, Clement, people fake letters. You have all these AI technologies now, and it becomes almost impossible for a human being to discern whether a letter is faked simply by looking at it. So what we want to do is plug directly into the university database. That is the kind of shift that we are making so that we cut out the discretion, and that's very much a work in progress.
Just lastly, I'm out of time. How protected are our borders, though, on a scale of 10? Because part of the challenge is, as much as these reforms are necessary, is there enough money being put, for instance, with the Border Management Authority to ensure that the border controls there are strengthened?
I think there's no doubt, and I've been saying it consistently for these 24 months, perhaps even annoyingly often, that the BMA does need more resources. There's no way around that. We've got 600 border guards. There is a recruitment underway now to recruit a few hundred more of them. But also on the technology side, we've had the proof of concept with drones, for example, at Beitbridge. We've had the proof of concept with the 40 body-worn cameras that we've got. So we know where the solution lies. We definitely need greater investment in the BMA in order to simply scale up the solutions. It's the good news, Clement, if I have to summarize it, we have in place the solutions now. The ETA is there, it's real. The BMA is there, it's real. Some of the technology augmentation is there, it's real. And what our job now is to scale it up, whether it's the ETA to make sure when people come in or leave, we have proper monitoring, whether it's border guarding or indeed surveillance. We just have to intensify and scale up. But it's not like we're still out there wondering what the solution is. And I think that's an important point.
Yeah. Dr. Leon Schreiber, Minister of Home Affairs, thanks for your time. 7 minutes before 11. A tectonic shift in world rugby is coming. 12 nations, 2 groups, 1 defining rivalry. And in the biggest game of the year, England comes to Ellis Park to take on the mighty Springboks on July 4th. Expect fireworks as the Red Roses travel to the Highveld. The nation's championship is where hemispheres collide. Get your tickets now, only from Ticketmaster.
Sure, they aced it. The Championship's Wimbledon experience with the Mzansi Advantage is back at Amex Tennistown Monte Casino between 11 and 12 July 2026. Enjoy VIP hospitality, the ultimate big screen experience, a kids fun zone, and so much more. Buy your tickets now on Howler and get 50% off on limited tickets when you use your Amex card. Tennis is better with Amex. American Express Cards is operated under license in South Africa by Nedbank, a licensed financial services and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
It's lunchtime and Mr. D has you covered. Open the app, pick your favorite meal, and enjoy free delivery between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. No restrictions, no hassle. Skip the line, stay at your desk, and let us bring lunch to you. Plus, every food order on the Mr. D app gives you a chance to win exciting prizes. Download the app now and make lunchtime effortless.
Let's walk the talk.
This is Clement Manyathela
on 702.
5 minutes before 11 o'clock, we continue now with our live coverage, monitoring developments across the country today as thousands of protesters are taking to the streets. This is as part of the June 30th deadline that was set by protesters for illegal immigrants to leave the country. We have heard from our reporters on the ground. We've heard from the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, which is one of the hotspots. We've just now heard from the Minister of Home Affairs, Leon Schreiber. I want us to get a sense of what's happening at our borders now with the Border Management Authority. The Acting Commissioner is Major General David Chilembe, who's joining us on the line. Major General Chilembe, thank you for your time. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. Good morning to the listeners also.
Do we have a number yet as to how many people have crossed our borders, those that are being transported home, either through our own deportations or the assistance of their embassies?
Yeah, since the 7th of June, when the President spoke about the pillars that we have to follow with regard to migration, we have repatriated more than 29,000 people in the three modalities of the border environment.
Oh, so 29,000 since the 7th of July.
Yes.
And are you seeing
7 of June?
Sorry, 7th of June. Are you seeing any high numbers since, let's say, yesterday? Anything you've picked up that's unusual?
Yeah, not really unusual. However, we have a lot of Malawians who are coming our way, whom we are repatriating, obviously with the assistance of their embassy. They are the ones that have been in high numbers. From the 7th of July, again, we had more than 13,000 of Malawians that have gone through our processes.
Mm-hmm. How do we make sure that the people who have been here illegally are not going to be returning? How protected are our borders? And it's a question I've asked the Home Affairs Minister, and he went on to explain how much money still needs to be given to you guys at the Border Management Authority to ensure a much stronger protection of our borders. But how do we avoid this? Like, how are you dealing with corruption there at our border posts?
Yeah. Clement, if I can take you back on the rationale for the establishment of the BMA, was that pre-1994 and all these other years, we had various government departments that were charged with border control. However, the National Intelligence Estimates pointed out that the fragmentation that is at the border is the one that causes the porousness of the border. The country then decided to establish the BMA by integrating all those other government departments into the BMA. That is the current process that we are following. Although we have also looked at bringing in other resources based on the analysis that we have done in order for us to be able to deal with the issues of borders.
Yeah.
Remember, we are responsible for the 71 declared ports of entry and also the 10 kilometer radius around the ports of entry. So in that space, you have various government departments. You've got the soldiers, you've got the police, customs, agriculture, and health. So the process that we have followed, we have integrated currently the Department of Health, those who we're doing the port health function, the agriculture, immigration, and the forestry and fisheries. And while we're doing that process, we're also bringing in what we call border guards, law enforcement border guards that would be doing the law enforcement at the borders.
All
so
right.
currently, we're working with the defense in the borderline, working with the police in the port of entry while that process is unfolding.
Yeah. Major General David Chilambe, Acting Commissioner at the BMA, thank you for your time.
Let's count backward. 5, insurance. 4, pineapple. 3, insurance. 2, pineapple. 1, you're under. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
Is there a word for the feeling of a road disappearing over the horizon? Beyonding? What about the feeling you get when you see sunlight flickering through rows of trees? Sun fizzing. Anyway, some things don't like to be explained. They just ask to be felt. Like the feeling of a drive built around you. Technology that's human first makes you one with your car in a way that you can't explain. You can only feel. And there's a word for that. Mazda. Wonder awaits. At the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, snap and share all 5 Mazda Wonder experiences using hashtag MazdaSA to stand a chance to win a share of 50,000 Rand.
When Joburg comes together for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk on Sunday, the 26th of July, FNB will be walking with you because FNB believes that help starts on the ground, with FNB coming together for good. So join FNB on this walk through the iconic Joburg CBD, witness a city on the move, experience the collective action helping to shape a cleaner, safer Joburg and rediscover the revitalized energy that makes the city unique. Enter now at primemediaplus.com and get ready for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk in proud partnership with FNB.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Anti-illegal immigration protests are picking up momentum in different parts of the country. The demonstrations are being spearheaded by March and March founder Jacinta Ngobese Zuma alongside her ally Nkosikhona Phakelumthakathi Ndabandi. While they say the government has not addressed the issues of anti-immigration, Ramaphosa has identified illegal immigration as a national security risk. We've been tracking the story with our reporters fanned across different parts of the country, and we begin our coverage this hour in the capital, where thousands are gathered where they are expected to march against anti-illegal immigration. We are joined now by Anelita Fandese. Anelita, what's happening on your end of the capital?
So the marchers have headed to Sunnyside Police Station from Church Square, where more people are expected to join. Protest organizer Commander Eddie says they want their voices heard.
We are going to march peacefully, and we are not going to allow to be intimidated. We are not going to allow it. If they intimidate us, they must do their work. Otherwise, if they don't do their work, we'll do our work. March peacefully so.
Organizers have clarified the route and emphasized that the march is set to be peaceful, calling on protesters to collaborate and let law enforcement do their job. The atmosphere remains calm, with law enforcement also maintaining a strong presence. Anelita Fandese, Eyewitness News, reporting live from Pretoria.
In KwaZulu-Natal, demonstrators are expected to move through Durban city centre towards the Point Precinct, an area where many foreign nationals live and operate businesses. Nkosikhona Malingamnisi is at the scene and joins us now live. Nkosikhona, what's the atmosphere like where you are?
So, under the watch of a heavy police presence, demonstrators are now making their way along King Zulu Road towards a nearby park. That is where they're expected to join another group of participants dressed in traditional Zulu regalia and carrying traditional weaponry. The marchers are singing struggle songs and chanting as they move through the city streets. Their procession has drawn the attention of onlookers, with some bystanders joining in the singing and ululating in support at intervals. Under tight direction from their organizers, the march comes to a brief halt to regroup rally participants and maintain its momentum before continuing. Now, once they reach the park, they will merge with the second group of demonstrators before proceeding to the Point Police Station. That is where today's march is expected to conclude, with organizers likely to address the crowd and deliver a short program before participants disperse. For Eyewitness News, I am reporting live in Durban, KwaZulu-Natal.
Meanwhile, Parliament is cautioning small business operators not to expose themselves to any unnecessary danger. Chairperson of the Select Committee on Economic Development and Trade, Sonia Boshoff, says while concerns about the impact of illegal immigration are genuine and deserve to be heard, no grievance can ever justify vandalism, intimidation or any other form of criminal conduct. Lindsay Dentlinker has more.
MP Sonia Boshoff says the concerns raised about the impact of illegal immigration point to systemic failures that require decisive and lawful action by government. Boshoff says as much as people have a constitutional right to protest, it must always be exercised peacefully and within the confines of the law. The Select Committee on Economic Development and Trade has called on street vendors, particularly foreign nationals operating in affected areas, to avoid confrontation with protesters and to exercise heightened caution until the situation has stabilized. Boshoff says while the frustrations expressed by many communities cannot be dismissed, attempts to take the law into one's own hands must be condemned. She says the current situation highlights the urgent need for government to demonstrate that immigration laws are being enforced consistently, fairly and without fear or favour. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
And Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa has directed all schools to make space for children who've been deported from South Africa. Mnangagwa says efforts must be made to absorb the children who need access to education facilities. Zimbabwe's Information and Publicity Minister Zemi Soda says that they will make plans to make sure that all children are at schools.
No child shall be turned away. Every returning child deserves the opportunity to continue their learning and build a future in their homeland.
Gold is trading at $3,961.59 an ounce. The rand is at 16.46 to the dollar, 21.77 to the pound, 18.77 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $72.53 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we still have got those road closures in several areas. Hillbrow, for instance. So we've got Smith Street closed off to traffic as you approach Twist Street. Claim Street is also closed off to traffic. So please try to avoid Hillbrow this morning while traveling in Midrand, Glen Alston. We still have got delays there as well as road closures along Pretoria Main Road, Dell Road, as well as Allendale Road.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 19 and 22 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: anti-illegal immigration protests are picking up momentum in different parts of the country.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Visit primemediaplus.com to enter 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. Hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for our Josie.
For Joburg, by Joburg, in Joburg.
Bamise bonke.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Nine minutes after 11 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. What we've been doing on the show since we started with the 702 open line and at 9 o'clock this morning is really just get the lay of the land in different parts of the country and monitor the different protests that are currently taking place. There are many of them, and we've got reporters that are stationed across different parts of the country. We've spoken to them in the EWN bulletins. Some of them have had them in the last hour. And what we'll do now is give you an opportunity to weigh in on what's happening in the country today. If you had my comments earlier on, do you agree? Do you disagree? And what are you seeing in your communities? Remember, you are our eyes and ears. So what are you seeing on the ground? How have you been affected by these protests today? Have your workers been affected? Are you one of those that have packed up and left? Maybe you are listening to us now from your own home country after you've had to make the difficult decision of leaving. Are you a foreign national who has decided to stay? What's your story? 011-883-0702. You can send your WhatsApps on 072-702-1702. Valentine, you're calling us from Midrand. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement.
Sure. Go ahead.
Yes. My comment is more based on people have diagnosed this thing wrongly. And you have had politicians that have taken advantage of genuine concerns that your pure communities have. For instance, you have local government elections coming up. And now, all of a sudden, people must be worried of having spaza shops. Spaza shops must be the main thing. You understand? But why can't they get worried about the real economics of the country, about land, about mining? Why should they focus on spaza shops? Why must the poor South Africans be only worried about spaza shops? It's because you have politicians that are using these things to prop up their names because there's local government elections coming.
What? Wait, Valentine, are you suggesting that this is only political? So you don't think there are genuine concerns on the ground where people are being affected by illegal immigration?
There are genuine concerns. That's what I'm saying. There is genuine concern out there. But where the anger is being directed, it's being misdirected. Because how do you say that overcrowding in hospitals is because of foreigners? Stats SA releases and says over 75% of this nation rely on public health care. And when you look at the amount of hospitals and clinics that are in the country, they are not able to sustain even the South African
Yes, but that's
population.
why pressure, hence pressure. So if you've got a public health system like ours in South
Let me
Africa,
finish my point.
that's not functional. Let me come in there. I'll give you a chance. If you have a healthcare system in South Africa that is not functional, Valentine, where there's already pressure, of course, when there are other people who come in, they're going to put more pressure on top of that. That's not to say our health system that's dysfunctional is as a result of illegal foreign nationals. That's not the case. But it would be naive of us to also think that there are certain health facilities that are not inundated with illegal migrants.
I get you. But here's my point. We know where the issue is. The issue lies with the government. It does not lie with the foreigner. Government needs to, instead of corruption, redirect those funds to building more facilities. Because even if every foreigner was to go out of this country today, you will still have overcrowding in school. You will still have hospitals that are not able to sustain the population. So the anger must not be channeled towards foreigners. The anger must be channeled towards the responsible authorities, which in this case is the government. But you now have foreigners being used as scapegoats as the reason why we have hospitals that are full, why every other social ill is being directed to foreigners.
Well, I don't think that's necessarily the case, Valentine. I think, yeah, and you know, did you hear my comment when I started the show today?
No, probably I had it.
Okay, let me try to repeat it. So I think that the reason where we are, Valentine, is because we're not hearing each other. So you've got people that are trying to delegitimize what truly is a genuine concern on the ground. Like, I do not experience illegal immigration like someone who lives in Hillbrow does, or someone who lives, I don't know, in Soweto or any part where they're being affected. I can't speak for that, but that doesn't erase that person's experience. And what I was trying to say when I started the show is multiple truths can exist, right? We can't ask, why not focus on spaza shops and not mining? No, there are multiple truths that exist. One of those is that there are people who are in this country from other countries that are here illegally. And they've taken advantage of our weak systems, and they've taken advantage of the loopholes that exist. They've been intentional from the time they left their country. They knew that I'm going to apply for a work visa, and then I'm going to overstay, or I'm going to go there as if I'm a tourist, or I'm going to go and do this and that. They were intentional about their criminality. Those people do exist. Equally so, we've got people in this country that are here and don't have the right documentation, not because they don't want to be here legally, but because Home Affairs is so weak. It's dysfunctional, and people there expect you to pay bribes, thousands of rands that many of the people do not have. So when you are saying to someone, why don't you have the document? It's too simplistic to just think it is because they're here illegally. You don't have the context of the length they have gone through to get the right papers, and they struggle to do so. And then I also said, the countries where these people are coming from need to take accountability. Why are we not having a conversation about what Zimbabwe, what Malawi is doing? Why are they only, I saw the Nigerian senior advisor to the president complaining that, yes, we've asked South Africa to take this seriously. No. What are you also doing as Nigeria? What are you doing as Zimbabwe? Why are your citizens leaving? Something is not working. And for as long as you're going to point fingers at the South African government or the South African people for raising their concerns, and I'm not suggesting that all of them have done so in a legal and ethical way, but I'm saying if you're going to point fingers there, what opportunity are you taking to reflect on your own weaknesses as a country that is pushing your own citizens away?
No, granted, what you are saying is genuinely correct. I was simply pointing at we cannot ignore the hand of politics. We cannot ignore the fact that this is conveniently happening so when we are a few months down the election line. We cannot ignore people like Clement Manyathela, Jacob Zuma, and I can go on, who have also taken advantage of this genuine concern, right? Accept what I'm saying. I'm not saying that whatever is being raised is not true. It is true. The problem of immigration is it's not even unique to South Africa alone. It's throughout the entire international community, and you can go on. But what I'm saying is we cannot ignore the hand of politicians in all this. That was my point that I was trying to push across. That you
Yes, got you. No, I hear you. I got you there, Valentine. So it's politicians here in the country, failures, but also politicians in the countries where their citizens are leaving. Rodwell, you are in Pretoria. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement,
Sure.
and to the listeners. Listen here, before I go to my point, I'm talking to my friends here, and we're saying, I wonder what is the EFF supporters saying now about this protest, because remember, their president is advocating for borderless Africa. But anyway, that's just tongue in the cheek. This is my point I want to make. I hear you saying to your listener now that you don't really point fingers at our governments, but I want to differ with you, Brother Clement. I do point fingers at my government. The thing is, there's a tool that they can use to put pressure on their government, on the other government, like the Malawi and Zimbabwe and these guys. There is a tool they can use. They used it now with Israel. They took Israel to International Criminal Court of Justice because of, why? Human rights violations and atrocities that they against their own citizens. Now, these governments, that's the reason why our people are here, is because they are running away from the atrocities that they would be facing and the human rights violations that they would be facing.
And that's not all of them, though. Hey, Rodwell? It's not all of them that are doing that. There are people who are here not because they are running away from or they deserve even the refugee status, which is why there's a white paper on immigration that's going to ensure that you're not just going to leave Uganda or the DRC, and you jump all of these countries, and then you suddenly arrive in South Africa and say, I'm a refugee. No, it must be a first country first. When you leave South Africa, what's the first country you get into? That's where you must seek your refugee status. The point I'm trying to make is there are people here who claim, I'm here and I'm a refugee. I'm an asylum seeker. But actually, when you look at how we define a refugee status and what conditions you're expected to have endured, that's not necessarily the case. So that system also gets abused. And I'm not saying it's everyone who abuses it. I'm saying be open to the idea that there are people here who have abused that system.
But our government must, the fact of the matter is, our government must put pressure on the Magangwas and I don't know who the president of Malawi is, Somalia, whatever, but they must put the pressure on them. So much so that if they don't listen and if they become hard-handed to their citizens, if they protest, that is why they're running away. The South African use it too, to force them.
Well, they're not going to do that. They're buddies with them. The president was at Emerson Mnangagwa's farm not so long ago. And who happened to be in that meeting? A businessman from Zimbabwe who actually, was it a wanted man or is being investigated by the Hawks? And the president came out to explain that, I didn't know who this person is or if they were going to be there. So that just goes to tell you that our government, I don't think they see anything wrong with what's happening in Zimbabwe. And if they see anything wrong with what's happening in Zimbabwe or what's happened, what have they done about it? And I'm not talking from now alone. I'm talking from the Jacob Zuma era, from the Thabo Mbeki era. What have the different administrations done to demonstrate how unhappy they were about what's happening in Zimbabwe? Because we are now dealing with the consequences. Why are people leaving to come to South Africa? Because things are not working in their country. What has our government done? But we go, chill at the president's farm there and have a wonderful time. Do you think in that meeting the president says to Mnangagwa, just be careful how you treat dissidents, the people you oppose, or people who oppose your government? Huh? You don't need human rights abuse. I've been to Zimbabwe covering elections. I've seen people die from live ammunition during elections. And you wait for someone in government to come and condemn. If I ask you now, what happened to the SANDF? What happened to the soldiers in Zimbabwe who killed protesters in the elections? When was it when I went there for elections? I must remember the year. What happened to them? I've asked an ambassador of Zimbabwe this question. Do you think anything happened? And what does that tell you about the attitude of the state? It's 22 after 11.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
If you look at the balance within the budget of the kind of capital expenditure that you would need to, for example, deal with old water pipes or problems in the wiring of substations, what kind of balance have you been able to strike in the budget?
Our principle and the posture is that we are investing on core services. For instance, we've increased our repairs and maintenance with about 800 million. And that was a decisive action on our part.
John
Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
On Sunday, the 26th of July, 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk will take you and the rest of Joburg on a scenic walk through the iconic inner city. And you better keep your eyes open and take it all in, because 5 Mazda Wonder experiences await along the 8-kilometer route. Get captured by the surprise grand piano performance. Step into a world of color. Lose yourself in a giant bubble-filled pause in the tranquil Japanese garden, then pop into the Mazda Wonder Hub. And when you have visited at least one of the 5 Mazda Wonder experiences, share your wonder moment with family and friends on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. Tag and follow at Mazda SA using hashtag Mazda SA, and you could win a share of 50,000 Rand. Thanks to Mazda, where wonder awaits. Official vehicle partner of 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. T's and C's apply.
Yes! It's Decophone's birthday sale. So, with 15 to 40% off and more, then technically, this $12.99 Josie dining chair is $17.19 for free. Free!
Honey, that's not how maths works.
It's birthday maths.
Celebrate our birthday in-store or at decofurnsa.co.za with 15 to 40% and more off absolutely everything. Decofurn Birthday Maths. Don't question it, just save. T's and C's apply.
Switching was so quick and easy. I'm happy with the premium that I'm paying now.
Outsurance business insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know you could get a guaranteed premium for 12 months even if you claim? For electrical, tradesman services and all other businesses. Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an energy, a pulse, and a feeling connecting everybody. The heart of Mzansi.
It's Joburg, you know?
In celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Jozi My Jozi, and we're calling on you to walk through the city center with us.
Walk the talk.
In the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk. Babize bonke. On Sunday, 26 July, we're going to the iconic Joburg CBD, the home of dream creators and operators, where we dominate and history make. So join us and be a part of something special.
I'm ready to rock this book.
Because when Joburg walks together, extraordinary things happen. Enter now on primemediaplus.com and get ready for 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk this July, hosted by the city of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for the people, for our Jozi. Babize bonke. Enter Walk the Talk now on primemediaplus.com.
Your voice.
Your questions.
Your morning radio with Clement Manyathela.
This is 702.
26 minutes after 11 o'clock. Hamilton, you calling us from Roodepoort. Good morning.
Morning, Clement. Are you well?
Sure, man. Go ahead. I'm good.
I'm good, thank you. You know, I was listening to the earlier caller that called, and there's something that worries me, and this marries into what you were saying. The challenge that we are faced with today as a country, it's not a South African or inherently a South African problem. It is broadly an African problem. And I'll tell you what I mean when I say broadly. Because it speaks to the dysfunctionality of quite a number of African countries.
Yeah.
And that has, in a way, created a situation that is so deplorable that the citizens of those respective countries have to look at the next best thing.
Yeah.
And in trying to dissect and deal with the elephant in the room, it would be disingenuous for us to think, as South Africa alone, we can be able to solve the African problem. That is where I disagree with Mushabi on the unification of Africa. I like the idea of African Renaissance, but the idea of African Renaissance cannot come at the expense of South Africa or in the South African sovereignty. If we are saying we must be a united Africa, let us be united in truth and in purpose.
Yeah.
To a point where, at the peer review point of view, we are able to say, Mnangagwa, please, man, deal with a conducive political environment, wherein which people, even those that are saying things that you don't like, you don't have to agree with them, but at least create a fertile ground where they can open this. You see, one of the reasons why we are able to have these discussions in South Africa openly, where even our brothers from any part of the continent can speak, it's because they know there are no consequences to that. But go to where Mutharika is president and go and speak against him. You'll realize that, no, you can't just speak as you like. It's because South Africa, there are so many things that are right about South Africa, much as there are so many things that have, over time gone wrong. But in order for us to fix these problems, we need to somewhat transfer the active citizenry spirit in our African brothers to say, now that you're going back home in your numbers, I'm hearing about the numbers of the Malawians and them that are going home. When they get home, let them galvanize and say we were in South Africa because at least in South Africa, we could say no and there would not be any adverse consequences.
Yeah.
And let them start fixing their countries. Because for as long as they've not fixed that country, I was with a group of people in Polokwane just last night, Clement, when they were saying, and unfortunately they are Zimbabwean nationals, when they were saying, no, now that South Africans have grown a pair, we are now going to Botswana. And I said to them, guys, go to Botswana. But you must know in Botswana, an eye for an eye.
The nonsense that you do in South Africa, you will not be able to do it, not even for a second in Botswana, because the legal system in Botswana is very clear and very robust.
Yeah, Hamilton in Rhodoport, thank you so much for your contribution. I agree with some aspects of what you're saying, especially in as far as African leaders and their unity on how to resolve this is concerned. If you think just as South Africa, this is going to be a crisis you resolve, you're naive. You need to talk to your counterparts on the continent. Jordan, you're in West Dean. What are your thoughts?
Clement, all African leaders must be ashamed of themselves. All of them. And I'm specifically mentioning African leaders, including our very own weak president. You can't be having all these meetings with these all SADC leaders, like comforting each other based on lies without being frank to one another. Let's leave the guy who's selling tomatoes on the street, the one who's fixing shoes and all that. What is going wrong in their very own countries, Zimbabwe, Malawi, whatsoever the case may be? Our very same criminal justice in South Africa is falling apart. Most of these people, besides home affairs being dysfunctional and all that, something is going wrong in their very own countries for them to see an opportunity to come to South Africa. All of these guys who rally behind or they hide behind being colonized 50 years ago, 60 years ago, like these guys are very weak people without any strategy, you understand? Now we have a problem sitting. What will happen in 2 years' time? Because it's not like this is the end of people in South Africa being xenophobic, being it that maybe they are, the issues that they are raising are valid or not. There is a problem, understand? Besides maybe some of them being criminals and all that, there is a problem. And these African leaders, they need to sit down to say, guys, there's something that is wrong that we are doing in our very own countries.
Yeah, Jordan, thank you for your contribution in West Dean. It's 11:32. Let's get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Mbali, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. A very good morning. While there is movement in parts of the country where demonstrations against anti-illegal migration are now in full swing, police are on high alert with thousands expected to march calling for undocumented foreign nationals to leave South Africa. Anti-illegal migration groups have accused government of not doing enough to address the illegal migration crisis with the urgency it deserves. EWN reporters are on the ground across the country to bring you the latest. In Pietermaritzburg, our team tells us that the final group of Malawian nationals is currently preparing for departure as more buses arrive to pick them up. For weeks now, the group camped at the Mayor's Walk Centre, citing concerns and fears ahead of today's demonstrations. That's where we find our reporter, Nhlanhla Mabaso.
More 10 buses arrived at Mayor's Walk in the early hours of the morning for repatriation. They are an additional to the 13 buses that left the site last night. This group has been taken to Musina in Limpopo, where a site has been prepared for them. Police have maintained a heavy presence and will soon escort the buses. Malawian national Alex Mustafa says he hasn't been home for the past 10 years now.
Yeah, I'm going home today. I'm not going to come back, but even I got a paper, passport, because this country is a nice one.
There has not been any protest action as it stands, but gatherings are expected to emerge this morning. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Pietermaritzburg.
While in the Western Cape, areas across Cape Town where migrants have homes and businesses have been very quiet this morning, many feared violence linked to the informal deadline for undocumented migrants to leave the country. In Bellville, Ethiopian shop owner Yishak Yusuf, who has been in South Africa for 25 years, says he hopes that no chaos erupts.
I hope and I pray that everything goes smooth, even for the people of South Africa as well. They really concerned, really, it is. And we also been impacted by this thing.
Yusuf says he's also worried about how children will interpret what is happening in the country today. While to get more on the Pulse updates from our team, you can follow EWN Reporter on X. Those are the headlines, this EWN and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, as you heard on Eyewitness News, several demonstrations taking place in Gauteng this morning. As a result, we do have road closures within the several CBDs, like in the Pretoria CBD. Nelson Mandela Drive closed off to traffic. This is just as you approach Madiba Street. Madiba Street in itself is also closed off to traffic, along with Lillian Ngoyi Street. Then, if you are traveling in Midrand, we've got more road closures along Dale Road, Pretoria Main Road, as well as Allendale Road. So please try to avoid these routes, especially if you're heading towards Waterfall and Sunning Hill. Speaking of Sunning Hill, we've got a bit of a hold up along the R55 coming out of Maxwell Drive, and then traveling within the Joburg CBD, more road closures taking place along the Hillborough area as well as the Bree area. So please be on the lookout there and try to avoid Smith Street, Claim Street, as well as Twist Street. More updates coming up at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
When Joburg comes together for 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk on Sunday the 26th of July, FNB will be walking with you, because FNB believes that help starts on the ground with people coming together for good. So join FNB on this walk through the iconic Joburg CBD. Witness a city on the move. Experience the collective action helping to shape a cleaner, safer Joburg and rediscover the revitalized energy that makes the city unique. Enter now at primemediaplus.com and get ready for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk in proud partnership with FNB.
Every day, something shifts. A rate decision, a currency move, a headline that changes everything until tomorrow's does. Change is constant, and for us, that's not a problem to manage. It's where opportunity lives. For 35 years, we've navigated it to seek out the best opportunities for you, wherever they may be. Change is opportunity. We're always ready to invest in it. 91, investing for a world of change. 91 is an authorized FSP.
Got a bright spark between 10 and 13 at home? Then get them ready for the whiz quiz with Bongani being one. 10 questions, 10 chances, up to 10,000 Rand waiting to be won. Every right answer bags $100. Nail them all and they will score the full 10 grand. Sign up now on primemediaplus.com and then catch Bongani Bingwa weekday mornings on 702 to hear if your young genius will take the quiz where brains turn into bucks, because smart kids win big on 702.
702
Health and Wellness.
23 minutes before 12 o'clock, this health and wellness feature is brought to you by Cipla. Stay connected with us. Today, we're having a conversation on our health and wellness feature about how to gain weight in a healthy way. Have you tried to gain weight? Which ways have you tried to gain weight in? Because most health conversations focus on losing weight, right? Being underweight or struggling to gain weight comes with its own health risks, including a weakened immune system, fatigue, nutrient deficiencies, and difficulty recovering from illness or injury. So gaining weight is not just about eating more. If it's done the right way, it can mean piling on excess fat without building muscle or relying on foods that do more harm than good. So let's find out how to gain weight the healthy way. But I also want to hear from you if you've ever struggled to gain weight. What have you tried in the past to try and sort of gain some weight? 011-883-0702 is the number you can dial. Your WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. Mbali Mapodi is a registered dietitian who's going to guide us through this conversation. Thanks, Mbali, for making time. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman. Thank you so much for having me this morning.
Why do people struggle to gain weight even when they eat a lot?
Yes, people who struggle to gain weight is usually not just the fact that they, as you're saying, they would be eating a lot. It's not just the fact that maybe they're not eating enough, but usually it's influenced by factors like metabolism, activity level, genetics as well, stress. All of those factors influence that a person may struggle to gain weight. But sometimes it could be that there is a presence of a disease. For example, if somebody has uncontrolled diabetes or they haven't been diagnosed, and then they all of a sudden start rapidly losing weight, and it doesn't matter what they eat, they'll still struggle to gain that weight. So then it means there is an existing condition that they are struggling with. Some people, it could be that even to a point of diseases like cancer, when it hasn't been diagnosed and then a person for a very long time is losing weight and it doesn't matter what they eat, then they're just continuously losing weight. So it could be any of those factors. In practice, what we do is we ask the percentage of body or of like weight loss maybe in the past 3 months to identify whether is it just normal weight loss or is it related to something even deeper, and then encourage a client obviously to go for further investigations if we see that the percentage of their weight that they've lost in the past 3 months is above a certain percentage. But usually it's not just that people are not eating enough, it's all of these factors that influence that even when a person is eating enough, they still won't gain weight.
Mm-hmm. What is the difference, though, between gaining healthy weight and just gaining fat?
Yes. So the difference between gaining healthy weight and just gaining fat is mainly focused on muscle mass. So when you're just eating and you are eating and you are gaining weight, the total body weight, but not necessarily preserving your muscle mass, you find that a person is gaining weight, but when maybe we do body composition, it shows that they will be having a high body fat composition. But when you are gaining the right weight is when you are using good quality foods, but also obviously increasing your calories and making sure and doing physical activity as well to preserve your muscle mass, so that when you are gaining weight, you are gaining muscle in a way, but not necessarily just picking up extra fat. So that's a big difference. And I think sometimes when you speak about weight gain in a world that so much focuses on weight loss, it's like, what? Are you encouraging people now to be overweight? But no, we are encouraging those who are carrying less muscle, those who are underweight, as you were saying, Clement, at the beginning, the dangers of being underweight. We are encouraging those to then gain weight, but more a weight that if we were to do a body composition where we're analyzing where is that weight coming from, we will find that it's coming from more muscle mass than body fat.
I see. Okay, let's look at what needs to be done then. What foods should people eat more if they want to gain weight healthily?
Yeah, so to gain weight healthily, we must first understand that to gain weight in general, the higher the calories you are consuming compared to what you actually need for day to day, consistently, that will cause you to gain weight. Now, what separates a healthy weight gain and an unhealthy weight gain is then not only focusing on just increasing your calories, but focusing on doing that with high quality food. What I mean by that is, for example, you could eat something that has 2,000, we can use kilojoules in this for the South African context, but if it has poor nutrient profile, that food item is going to make you gain body fat more than to preserve muscle mass. But let's take something like avocado. Avocado is nutrient dense, so it's got all these vitamins and minerals and dietary fiber, but on top of that is a high calorie food item. So adding foods like your avocado, which are quite nutrient dense and high calorie at the same time, is helpful. So I would say adding your avocado in at least every day in your meals, adding nut butters, but again, choosing the right of your nut butters, like your peanut butter, instead of going for regular, maybe going for the no salt, no sugar version. You're getting the calories, you're getting the nutrients without the addition of extra added sugar. Going for whenever you are eating, making sure, because I think we find it easy to focus on protein, carbohydrates, and vegetables, but we forget another element in our meals, like healthy fats. That's why I use a lot in my practice for weight gain, healthy fats, like the ones I'm mentioning, because in small quantities you are able to give a high amount of calories, but at the same time then it pushes a person to then gain weight. So those are the things. But again, making sure we are eating enough, starting your day with a cup of coffee and skipping meals, unless obviously you are intentionally intermittent fasting, but that in itself is not going to help, because by the end of the day, if you are not eating enough and your intention is to gain weight, you're not going to be consuming enough calories anyway.
Yeah.
So making sure that our meals are complete protein sources, lean protein sources, because yes, we want to make sure we are eating enough, but we don't want to go for the highest fat in meat. So remove the visible fats of your meat, yes, but then add the healthy fats into your plate to complete the plate, so that can be a high calorie but high quality play.
Yeah. What are some of the reasons people are underweight and they want to gain weight? Are there any medical conditions that can cause someone to be underweight?
Yes, there are. There are very much medical reasons why somebody would be underweight, like especially things relating to one's thyroid. If you've got a very much a hyperactive thyroid, so there are conditions relating to the thyroid that will make one lose weight. But as I said, sometimes it's underlying things like you've got diabetes, it's not really diagnosed and you don't know about it. That can cause one to gain weight. Certain cancers can make somebody to lose weight, not to gain weight, but to lose weight, and there's no explanation. So if that is very, very important. But also there are people who are genetically just slim, very, very slim. It doesn't matter what they do. So in those cases, obviously we encourage them to eat enough, as I was saying, make sure they're eating high-calorie, nutrient-dense foods to increase their weight, but they might still struggle. So, but if you find that you are trying and you don't know the explanation, always a good idea to consult with a healthcare professional. Then we are able to just figure out as to what's the reason without just saying, oh, it's genetics, but what is the reason, especially for female or women, because being underweight really affects whether it's your menstrual cycle, our hormones, our mental health, immunity. Even with men as well, we see that mental health gets affected, immunity, because all these things they are supported by how much muscle mass you are carrying. So if you are very much underweight, it means you've got low muscle mass. It's going to affect all these other health pillars as well.
Got you. It's 15 minutes before 12 o'clock. Give me a call on 011-883-0702 if you've got a question from Bali Mapodi, who is a dietitian with us now, to talk to us about how to gain weight in a healthy way. What are some of the reasons why you have been underweight and why you've been trying to gain some weight, and what have you tried? And if you've tried something, maybe it didn't work, or you've tried something and it's really worked and you want to share it with our listeners, please feel free to call us or send a WhatsApp voice note.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
Lots of press briefings about the fact that there is intelligence to deal with any criminality and all of the things that are anticipated. I'm not hearing the conversation about what happens on the 1st. It's almost as if everything is about the 30th of June and nothing but the 30th of June. But man, there's the 1st, then the 2nd. If indeed there is some nefarious activities planned, then they've got you, because all of your resources have been focused on this one day about the 30th of June, the 30th of June.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
When Joburg comes together for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk on Sunday, the 26th of July, FNB will be walking with you, because FNB believes that help starts on the ground with people coming together for good. So join FNB on this walk through the iconic Joburg CBD, witness a city on the move, experience the collective action helping to shape a cleaner, safer Joburg, and rediscover the revitalized energy that makes the city unique. Enter now at primemediaplus.com and get ready for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, in proud partnership with FNB.
Get ready to take the reins. The spotlight shifts to the 2026 Hollywood Bets Durban July in our thrilling Season of Champions competition. Bet 50 Rand or more on horse racing online or at your nearest Hollywood Bets branch for your chance to take home a share of 2.5 million Rand in cash and prizes. Are you ready to embrace the country allure experience? Bet now and join the race for champion status. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
In life's most challenging moments of loss, compassion can be your greatest comfort. You shouldn't have to face the financial burden of losing a loved one by yourself. Rest assured, Clientele's funeral plans pay out cash within 24 hours. You can cover up to 13 family members on one plan, ensuring all your loved ones are taken care of, and 3 children are covered at no additional cost. With Clientele, you're not just buying a plan, you're also buying peace of mind. When the time comes, you will need to make important calls with your 200 Rand airtime you will receive when you claim. Plans offer double accidental death cover, as well as transport, grocery, and unveiling benefits. Apply today. It's easy. There are no medical examinations and no paperwork. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
702.
Health and wellness.
10 minutes before 12, we're talking about gaining weight in a healthy way on our health and wellness feature this morning. Let me go to your calls now. I'll start with Bonisile in Bedfordview. Good morning.
Clement, hi.
Hey, Tada.
I am so happy we are having this conversation because we talk a lot about people trying to lose and then us on the other end, no one's talking about us. But I am someone who struggled to gain weight almost all my life. And the one thing that helped me was tracking my macronutrients. So I downloaded an app called Fat Secret. And you are always under the impression, and you'd hear people saying, but I eat, and I'm not gaining weight. But I bought a kitchen scale, and when I'd have food dished up, I would put it on the scale and say, all right, I've got 400 grams of pap, put it on the app. I've got this many grams of beef stew, put it on the app. You realize that sometimes on some days you're even eating less than what you are burning while resting.
Jeez.
So you'll find that while resting, throughout the day, you're burning about 1,500 calories. And then through your walking around, you are burning maybe another 800 calories, but you're eating under that, which means that even though you feel like you're eating your 3 big meals a day, it's not working. So what worked for me was to have 6 smaller meals in a day. And I would set a target. I had a target of between 2.8 to 3,200 calories, and keeping track really, like if by 12, I'm not at this point, I know that I'm slacking. Let me get a peanut butter sandwich. Let me get chocolate. Let me get something, because also I know that our dietitian friend there might not be too happy about this, but being slender means that you having chocolate doesn't show as much as it would show in other people. You can have your third chocolate, chocolate of the day and still be fine. Yeah.
So where are you now, Bonisile? Have you gained the weight you've been trying to gain, or are you still on the move?
So Kesal is slender, but I went from 50 to 68.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went from 50 to about 68. The running is making me lose weight again. So I have to now have more calories. So when I know I'm going to run in the evening, I take it up to maybe 3,500 calories. Yeah.
All right. No, Bonisile, thank you so much for calling us and sharing your experience with us. Mbali, any thoughts on what Bonisile had to say?
Yes, the part where I agree with him is regarding how much we undereat as adults. And I fully agree, because then sometimes tracking it, if it helps you really see the total amount of macros and calories, then you actually see how much the whole diet culture, I blame it on the diet culture of thinking that everything, if you are feeling full, is now committed a crime, and making like people see a plate that look like, might have too much food. Yes, there is a problem of portions, but I also think the fear now has made a lot of adults really undereat. So I agree with that we just always think that calories, I'm burning calories. But even as we are sleeping, as we are sitting, as we are thinking, doing no physical activity, we are still burning calories. So it's really important to eat enough.
Yeah. Moeletsi, you're in Johannesburg. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes.
Oh, just switch off your radio, my brother. Just switch off your radio quickly, and then I'll bring you up. All right, Moeletsi? Yeah, go ahead.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my problem is that I've been trying to gain weight. I mean, from the age of 13, and I've been skinny. You know, the way that I'm thinking I'm skinny, my bones are showing on the knees, and people used to tell me that, no, you're fine. Just eat more, and if I eat more, only my belly grows, and I won't go anywhere. Maybe it's because I'm vegetarian, I don't know, but yeah. And so I've tried the vegan style because, sometimes I'm very sensitive to animal products. Not that I'm allergic, but this thing sometimes, So I've just adapted to vegan. And I've seen some of my friends who are vegan, they have got good-looking bodies. And I've been struggling. And on Sunday, I just turned 60. Imagine I've been fighting this battle for the past 47 years, and I'm not going anywhere.
Sure.
Yeah, so if I could
what do you weigh, Moeletsi?
Right now, I think I'm weighing like 64.
64.
Yeah, I think I'm 1.7. Yeah.
All right.
If I could go like 74 or 76, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
But with muscle, not just fat.
Got you. Molet's in Johannesburg, thank you. Yeah, Mbali, Molet is beginning to think that it could be because he's vegetarian. Your thoughts?
No, and it could be, but we know that one can be vegetarian and or vegan and really still have, achieve their body goals in terms of weight gain and muscle mass. That shouldn't be the reason. Obviously, it gets a little bit tougher to meet your protein and making sure that you are eating enough protein when you are vegetarian. So maybe making sure that he's getting good quality even from plant sources could be ideal. But I would say definitely maybe a full blood work just for comfort. He might need to see a doctor just to make sure that everything is well. Just a full blood count to see any thyroid issues, any liver issues, anything like that could have been a genetic thing, since he said he's been struggling with weight gain since he was 13, just to be sure. And then we can look into how can we make sure that from a vegetarian diet he gets enough protein and also get enough energy total for the day.
So should people use weight gain supplements or your shakes? Any of these necessary?
They can be necessary, especially when you are trying to make sure that you're not grazing every 2 hours. Not everybody can eat 6 meals a day. Some can, but if you just want to make sure that you're getting enough nutrients and energy without eating constantly, yes, they can work. However, just a massive caution that not all of them are what they say they are. So make sure that you really read the label. Make sure they don't have a lot of fillers there, but they have enough protein per 100 grams. They have enough fiber if it's a fiber-based type of a supplement. But particularly the focus is usually on protein when it comes to protein supplement or the weight gain supplements, and make sure that there's not too much added sugar. That matters a lot, because then you'll be taking this weight gain supplement and it does what we were saying at the beginning, that is just poor quality calories at the end of the day, which means you'll be gaining weight, but on body composition, it will come up as more body fat than muscle mass.
Got you. Oh, yeah. Mbali, thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. Mbali Mapodi is a registered dietitian. Now, seasons after seasons, families rely on the everyday moments that keep them connected, the conversations, the shared routines, the time spent together. But as the seasons change, even mild discomfort can linger, interrupting the brightest of these moments. That's why so many families trust Corix for effective relief that helps you stay supported so that you can focus on what matters most, being together. Corix, together. Through every season. Ask your healthcare professional about the full Corix range this season. When you're walking the 702 Josie Majosi Walk the Talk on Sunday, the 26th of July, keep your eyes open because Mazda is bringing wonder to the 8-kilometer route. There'll be 5 Mazda Wonder experiences, including a piano performance, a world of color, a bubble field, a Japanese garden, and the Mazda Wonder Hub. Visit one of the 5, then capture and share your wonder moment on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. Tag and follow at Mazda SA using hashtag Mazda SA, and you could win your share of 50,000 Rand. Mazda, where wonder awaits. T's and C's apply.
At the 702 Josie Majosi Walk the Talk, snap and share all 5 Mazda Wonder experiences using hashtag Mazda SA to stand a chance to win a share of 50,000 Rand.
Coming up
on the Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
Good morning, Mandy.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
You survived. Busy news day.
Yeah, it's been crazy. It's been crazy. But so far, it doesn't seem like there's anything that's been flaring up except just isolated cases here and there.
Yeah, but here and there, Marion Hill, for example. So we'll speak to Tabiso Goba, who's there. We have reporters everywhere, so we're going to whoop around the country. We'll go to Soweto, we'll go to the Joburg CBD, we'll go to KZN, we'll go to Beitbridge. We'll speak to people everywhere. We'll also speak to the police. We're hoping to speak to Jacinta from March and March as well. And then we're speaking to the Statistician General about what the stats actually say about illegal immigrants in South Africa.
Yeah. I remember once when I asked him, and he was like, when we ask people on the ground, we don't ask them if they're here legally or not. So they can only tell us who's here, who's a foreign national, but whether they're here legally or not, they just don't know.
And in terms of employment, looking at that data as well to see if it's a trope that actually foreigners are taking jobs or not.
Yeah.
So we'll have a look at that. And then petrol's coming down tonight.
Thank God.
Midnight.
By 2 cents?
Yeah,
Or is it
something like that,
significant?
I can't remember. I'll tell you.
Okay, that's what's coming up on the Midday Report with Mandy Wina. Please stay listening to 702 throughout the day today. We are doing rolling coverage of these protests that are taking place across 9 provinces. And please stay safe out there, but keep also sending us tweets, give us a call, send WhatsApp voice notes, and tell us what you're seeing in your communities and how you're being affected. Thank you for listening to the Tuesday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. I'm back with you again tomorrow between 9 and 12. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon. I'm March calling for undocumented migrants to leave South Africa. Anti-illegal migration groups have accused government of not doing enough to address the illegal immigration crisis with the urgency that it deserves. EWN reporters are on the ground across the country to bring you the latest. We start with the group of anti-illegal immigration demonstrators who are gathered in Johannesburg. Now, that group has grown significantly, forcing police to also strengthen their presence. A heavy law enforcement contingent is currently escorting the procession through the inner city. We take you live now to Eyewitness News reporter Mongezi Koko. Mongezi, we understand the crowd continues to swell in the City of Gold. Mongezi?
That's correct, Mbali. Organizers now estimate that close to 10,000 people have joined the march, which is currently moving through Braamfontein towards Hillbrow. The procession is being led by protest organizer Ngizwe Mkhunu, while a significant police presence has been deployed along the route to monitor the demonstration and keep traffic moving. So far, the protest has remained largely peaceful. There have been only isolated incidents of confrontation, but no confirmed reports of looting, damage to infrastructure, or other violent criminal activity. For now, police appear to have the situation under control.